DSL here. My lighting is really yellow. There, it's better. All right, everything is set. Welcome, welcome. What's up? Good to see everyone. Look at the fireworks. Pew, 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 pew. I love that. Link, close. Put that up there. All right, and I'll share this. All right. Okay, YouTube, I put the link to come to TikTok in the chat. I pinned it. So if you're not vegan and you think you have a good reason for not being vegan, go ahead and use that. Click on over. I'm Vegan Stoner Lady. I'm live today because I want to know why you aren't vegan yet. Veganism is an ethical stance against the exploitation of other fellow sentient beings. I don't want to demand someone else's exploitation because I don't want to be enslaved. So, with that, we're going to bring up guests as long as you're over 18. Pull this over here. I see you, ethics. Before we get started, I do want to go over my resources. I don't know why my background's being all weird. Let's see if I can open up the thing. Maybe that'll help. All right. So anyway, I have antianimaluse.org. It's a website that my partner actually developed, and it just has a bunch of good resources all in one spot. If you if you go to it and you click on See What I Fund, it brings you to just a short list of documentaries. There's more resources and more documentaries offered, but the main ones I want shown to people are Dominion. There's a 3-minute movie challenge, and then there's also Christspiracy for those that are religious. So I just challenge everybody to watch the 3-minute film. Watch it, tell me, or think about it if you really think that that's a necessary evil, if you want to keep supporting that. Or, if it does change your mind, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. So that's in that resource right there. Stupid background. So antianimaluse.org. And then I just want to say hello to everybody real quick. All right, I saw Lewis is in here. I saw, who else was there that I saw this morning? Martin, you two were the first ones that came and said hello. Good morning. Lambretta was in there. Good to see you. Salad Faux Girl. Another damn vegan. Aw, so good. I got a great group of vegans in here. Vegan Heretic, what's up? Awesome. And Neek, always good to see you. I'm sure you're always cooking something good. Going to cook some quinoa and tofu. So we'll be listening in the first few, then joining in the chat. Well, we look forward to talking to you. Glad to have you here. Tatato, good to see you. Vegan from McDonald's, Vegan Kaz. Wow, we got such a list in here. Pseudo liberal, I don't know you. Good, I'm glad you're here. All right, well, thank you all for being here. Oh, Jesse and Vegan Heretic over here in the TikTok. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm honored. Good to see you. Yeah, so just make sure you're sharing, liking, engaging, whatever. If you're one of the members, as you type, your character will pop up, or at least that's how it's supposed to work. We're still working on things, so just bear with us. It's still fun, little characters running around. This is called Tiny Advocates, and we're hoping to make it part of our membership. So if you become a member, your little character will pop up. Eventually, we want it so that you can customize your character and you can emote, while we're having conversations. So, but for now, it's kind of a work in progress. All right. Aw, thank you for the hearts. I appreciate that. All right. Curious George. I feel like I've spoken to you before. Give me 1 second. I want to put this over here and over here. All right. You got to be over 18.
Hello, right. Yes, I am.
Okay. Have we spoken before? You look familiar.
I think if we did, it was a long time ago.
Okay. So, why aren't you vegan yet?
Well, I'm a primalist. I basically believe that we should be acting strictly on intuition. I think tribal settings are an optimal environment for human development.
That sounds yikes already.
and I think that our diet should consist of mostly like tough, fatty meats that
So
are
if you
like
feel this
difficult to
way, why
chew.
are you on the internet?
Um, because you don't eat the internet.
But you just said we should do things like we did when we were living in the wild.
That's true, but I'm also like socializing, so I think it could be like beneficial.
Well, wouldn't it be beneficial to eat just plants?
Why?
Because the animals want to live.
What does that have to do with me?
What do you mean? What does that have to do with you? You're the oppressor. What if someone was
What?
oppressing you? Would you want them to stop or keep doing it because they can?
I would revolt. There would be an revolution.
Exactly. You don't want it to happen. So if
But the
someone
animals
is
can't do that.
unable, if
They're our
someone, shut
slaves.
up for a second, okay? You are a disgusting person already. All right. If someone is unable to defend themselves, you're literally saying it's okay to use them. It's terrible, terrible logic. And you came up here with such an attitude. Please tie my shoes. Are you there? Hey, are you over 18? I can't hear you if you teacup. Hello? Okay. It must have been an accident. Aries. Are you over 18? Okay. All right. So you got to be over 18. If you're under 18, I will drop you like a rock. Okay. Yeah, that guy saying he's a primalist is laughable because he's on TikTok on his phone. You know, I don't understand what else a primalist would want other than to live like a primate or living out in primal times, right? It's not consistent. Do you also use toilet paper, wash your hands, brush your teeth? I hope so. It's not what we do when we live out in the woods, though. So it's not really a good justification for taking someone's life and violating their bodies. Aries, are you sure you're ready? Because I brought you up and you didn't seem like you were ready. Are you over 18? Okay, I won't bring you up anymore. Cereal. Are you over 18?
Yes, I'm 26.
All right. Why aren't you vegan yet?
Um, I wouldn't necessarily say why I'm not vegan. I believe I could, but I believe I can say why being vegan is somewhat ableist.
Okay, so for you to go vegan, that's ableist?
Not necessarily. So, why I would say for me I'm not vegan is because I have sensory food issues.
So do you think others should die for that?
Um, I don't. I eat like two foods.
So you think others
Um,
should die for that?
I wouldn't necessarily. So, do you believe that when,
Do you think others should die for that?
like when, so you're talking
If you're not going to
about,
answer me, I'll move on. Do you think that others should die because you have a sensory issue?
I believe we should accommodate people
Okay.
with disabilities.
All right. Yes, I understand, but you need to answer my question. I want to know where your values lie. Hey, Frisia, what's up? It's good to see you.
Oh, hold on. I don't know if I don't know what is happening with my phone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I don't know. My phone is frozen.
Oh no. Is it not moving or anything?
It's just the keyboard's up and I can't get it to go away.
Oh, that's wild. Do you want me to drop you? You can come back up?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I was just gonna say, I'm disabled and I've been vegan for 12 years, so it is possible to do when you're disabled.
Yeah, it's about your motivations, right?
It is about your motivations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're gonna have to drop me because I can't do it.
I'm so sorry. Okay, I'll bring you right back up. That totally happens. I do want to clarify. I understand some people have some high obstacles. Um, I'm not saying if you're not vegan, we're gonna come after you, right? I'm asking you your values and if you think that others should die for you. And if you say no, like if we can avoid that, then let's talk about your obstacles. But if you're already like, I don't care even if I don't have this obstacle, then of course I'm gonna want to focus on your ethics first. All right. Heart. Wait for Felicia to come back. Hey, are you over 18?
I am, yeah.
Right on. Why aren't you vegan yet?
Why aren't I vegan? I don't get it. I don't see, I think it's unreasonable.
What's veganism?
Standing against the oppression of animals and following a vegan diet,
What's wrong with that?
exploitation of animals. What's wrong with it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, so you understand that we're trying to not exploit other animals. Why would we bother doing that?
We need to. The circle of life. I'm not gonna,
No. I'm asking you, why do you think vegans want to avoid demanding other animals' exploitation?
they don't want to hurt animals.
Okay, why is that important?
Animals are living things, living animals. They're animals.
Why should we care about that?
Why should we care about that? Because, I don't know. Why should we care about that?
Why should we care about other humans?
They're human beings.
Oh, so it's about their DNA.
I suppose, yeah, humans are superior to animals. I don't think
Do you test everyone's DNA before you respect them?
No, of course not.
How do you know we're all human?
Oh, okay.
How do you know I'm human?
Well, this is, that's because you're a human.
How do you know that?
Because you're a human. What do you want me to say?
That? I want you to say you don't know that I'm human. You're assuming based off of what you're looking at.
Yeah, you're a human. You're a human being.
You can guess that I'm sentient, right? By watching my behaviors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Guess what? The other animals are also sentient. What does sentience mean?
And there's also a harsh reality.
What does sentience mean? What does sentience mean?
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah, I know. You're struggling hard.
Yeah. No, I'm not struggling hard.
What's sentience mean? It means someone...
Yeah, you have free will. You can do what you want.
That's not what it means. It means that you're a subject having a subjective experience of the world. You're having your own experience of emotions, joy, suffering. So I would argue that's all we care about. Hush, honey. I know you really want to put your voice out there, but hear me out. The only thing that we care about in other humans is their sentience, right? It doesn't matter how intelligent a human is. It doesn't matter who their parents are, what they look like. The reason why we respect other humans is because there's someone in there having an experience. And I'm saying that we're just being logically inconsistent because other animals are also subjects having an experience who care about what happens to themselves. And there's nothing we need from them. So what morally justifies putting an emotional feeling being through something that you yourself wouldn't tolerate being put through?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm not saying that killing animals
you play in this?
The part that I play in this, I eat food.
Yeah, so you know how supply and demand works?
It sucks. The world isn't a pretty place.
That's an appeal to futility and a cop-out, really, because you're just trying to shut down the conversation. What is your part in this?
I eat the food.
Do you know what supply and demand is?
Sure.
What is it?
Define supply and demand. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, because I want to make sure you understand what you're talking about here. So every time you go and purchase animal products or even go to a friend's house and they give you animal products, the next animal goes through that system.
Okay. Is being vegan, is that realistic? Do you think we could do that on a global scale?
Yes.
Is that possible?
Absolutely. Yes. We have evidence of it. There's the biggest actual meta-analysis on this subject is called Reducing Food's Environmental Impacts Through Producers and Consumers. We could feed more humans if we stopped enslaving other animals. We could literally reduce our land use by 75%. And still feed 10 billion humans. We could rewild that land.
And we won't be like immunocompromised. We won't lack certain things in our diet. We can get everything we need from animal products. From
plant-based products and fungi and seaweed. Absolutely, yes. Yes.
correct me if I'm wrong, but don't vegans like generally struggle health wise because they
No,
eat
we
like
live longer, in
carbs
fact.
and really?
Yes.
Do you live longer?
Do I live longer? I don't know. I'm only
Are you
37.
gonna live? Are you gonna live longer?
I hope so.
I just don't. I don't know. I just don't get it. I really don't get it.
What
Factory
don't you
farming
get?
sucks. I'm not advocating for
What's
that.
wrong
Like
with factory farming?
it's you know, I don't want to torture animals. No one wants that.
Yeah,
Like
we
we're
care
not
about
sitting
their
here going,
experiences.
yeah, of course.
Yeah. So if we don't need them and their experiences matter, wouldn't abstaining from demanding their exploitation be like bare minimum respect?
Oh yeah, oh, for sure, for sure. I'm not look. I'm not saying it's good. The world isn't a pretty place, and people are gonna eat
Of
meat.
course.
It is what it
I
is.
live in reality too, but I also
We're
know that
omnivores.
we have
There's no going
options.
vegan. It's not gonna happen. We're not all gonna
Okay.
go vegan.
Okay, so what you're doing is called an appeal to futility. You're saying because the world's not perfect, I'm not going to do the right thing. Do you need the world to do the right thing before you?
No.
That's all that veganism is. It's just recognizing that this isn't fair and that we can not support it. And if you feel like that's not enough, you can speak up. That's more of an activist. But veganism is just saying, I don't want to support this system.
Hmm.
Doesn't that align with
All
your
right.
own principles?
Sure.
Yeah, shouldn't we avoid like evil corporations?
Controlling shit, absolutely.
Yeah. Don't you think it's evil to enslave others?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all that veganism is. It's just taking those principles and putting them in alignment with my actions.
Right.
Or the other way around.
I don't
Putting
know.
my actions in alignment with my principles.
I guess I like appeal to futility.
Well, that's just to make yourself feel better about the oppression that you're benefiting from. It's a cope, you know.
That's life, you know.
Again,
We're gonna eat
that's a
food.
thought-ending cliche, so that you don't have to think about your responsibilities. These are all coping
I'll
mechanisms.
think about it all day. You know, I have food
It's not
being
about
delivered
what
to me
you're
right
thinking
now.
about. It's about your actions, you know. It's one thing to think, "Oh, I'm for respecting women's rights," and then to turn around and start slapping women's asses without their consent, right?
That's
So
quite
it's lip
different.
service
for
when you
sure.
don't do anything.
Hey, then I'm a hypocrite, you know.
Yeah, again, you're just coping with your failure to live in alignment with your own values. So it's not that I care what you're doing, it's that you have victims you need to be aware of. And you doing this doesn't change that you have victims.
Would it be better if I started hunting and I humanely, quote unquote,
Would it
humanely?
be better if I went out and pew-pewed humans for my taste pleasure?
Humans aren't animals, though.
We're apes. We're
But we're a little different. I agree. We are
We're
animals,
another
but
species of
it's a little
animals.
different. It's a
What's
little different.
Yep. See, now this is ableism, because now you're going to go down the line of what it means to be human, and unless it's DNA, you're going to be talking about some ability.
Ableism.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not the last guy.
I understand. What is the morally relevant difference between other animals and us that justifies this difference in treatment?
I'm not a cow. You're not a cow.
What's the morally relevant difference?
They're animals.
We are animals.
They're not quite on our level.
So it's intelligence.
I suppose.
So
Are you
how
gonna
that's
turn this into an
ableism?
ableist? Yeah, right.
Well, because we don't have all humans are not the same intelligence, right? You and I are two different intelligences. I don't even know if
Of
that's
course
a
not.
word.
I don't know. I
Two
guess
different
I
intelligences.
discriminate against animals then.
Yeah, that's called speciesism. You're using arbitrary traits.
We're
say it's
speciesists.
Okay, but hear me out. What's wrong with racism?
What's wrong with racism?
Yeah.
What's wrong with racism? It's bad.
Yeah, why? Is it because
they're people.
Is it because you're using an arbitrary trait to ignore their sentience? You're saying you're a different color than me, therefore I can ignore the fact you care about what's going to happen to yourself, and I can use you for my benefit. Isn't that what's wrong with being racist?
Sure.
Well, so speciesism is the same thing. You're just using the fact that they're not in your group to violate them. Well, I'm going to let you go for now. It sounds like you understand what I'm talking about. go check out my resources. Get this out of the way. Antianimaluse.org. Go watch, see what I fund and ask yourself, do I really want to give my money to those people? Because it just shows you standard practice. Anyway. Yeah, anybody who is in here, please go check out my resources. I don't know why my wall keeps showing up. It's really annoying. But go look at antianimaluse.org. Click on See What I Fund. And it's a 3-minute film. Just take 3 minutes out of your day. Watch it. Ask yourself if that's really what the person you want to be supporting that. Trenton. Oh, I had everything on the wrong chat. There we go. Now I can see all your chats. Oh, Trenton, I thought I hit the button.
Hello.
Hey, are you over 18?
I am.
All right. Why aren't you vegan yet?
A couple different reasons. One being I am religious, and we ain't got to go into the whole, is God a real debate, but
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
yeah, but I mean that's one reason. Two, that's just how I was raised. I hunt, I fish, I do all that. And for one, it's a lot cheaper. It's and I don't really buy meat from the grocery store much. I get, everything's, fresh for the most part.
Okay.
I think it's, for the most part, very good for you. And
How many? Okay, let's start. I've got a list now. We've got religion, hunting, fishing, cheaper, not from the store, and good for you. Can we start there and then we can move on? It's fine if the list goes on,
sure.
but okay.
Sure.
So for your religion, could I join your religion as a vegan?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So your religion doesn't justify it. Your religion maybe gives you permission, but it doesn't justify it, right? Like I could have my mommy could tell me that it's okay for me to punch people in the face. Just because I have that permission doesn't make it right?
Well, if in my mind though, if it's it's part of my religion, I think that it is right.
What I'm saying is, even though your God says you have permission to do this, you don't have to do it, and there's other
No, you don't have to.
and there's other consequences to it. So I'm saying, even though your religion gives you permission, that doesn't absolve it of its immorality, because there's a victim involved. There's someone that has to experience something terrible in order for you to have this pleasure. So
I wouldn't.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't say someone. I would say something. But yeah.
All right. Well, so can we agree though that your religion isn't a reason to do something? It may give you permission, but it's not.
Yeah.
Okay,
We can
cool.
agree on that.
All
We
right.
can agree on
So, and then we can pivot to someone if you want. So, when you think of a human, what makes them a someone?
that. I mean, we may or may not disagree on this, but I think a human. We have souls. I think we have. We have certain morals. We have a higher. We have more of a. What's the word I'm looking for? Like. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. I don't want to say we're better than animals, but what I'm trying to get, we are though, is kind of what I'm trying to get at.
Well, if we are better, let's steel man your argument. Let's say we are better in whatever aspect you're saying.
Yeah.
Does the fact that we're better give us the right to violate somebody else because we're better than them?
I mean, I ain't trying to say we're better than them. It's like, going back to the whole religion thing, I think animals were put onto this earth for us, for food, for substance, whatever.
Do you think that your God wants you to do whatever you want to other animals?
No, not whatever we want.
Does he want you to take their life just for pleasure?
It's not for pleasure. It's for substance.
Yeah, it's only if it's necessary, right?
Not even for that. It's not even that it's necessary. It's
for pleasure.
It's not for pleasure.
Well, okay. What would it be for if it's not for sustenance or pleasure?
It's for sustenance.
Okay, so I just said, unless it's for necessity, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's not a necessity.
You need?
But neither, being vegan isn't a necessity. You know what I mean?
Okay. Why do you need to use other animals? What do you need from them?
I mean, there's a lot of protein. You know,
Okay.
they taste good,
Do you not think
good
you
for you.
can? Do you not think you can't get all your protein from a plant-based diet?
Of course, you can.
Okay. So where's the need then? If you can get this from other sources, what do you need from other animals?
Well, it's a lot cheaper
Then what?
than going to the grocery store. I mean, I could buy, a box of bullets and
Do you
have.
not eat plants at all?
Of course, I do. Yeah.
Okay. So the cheapest things in the store are going to be the rice, the beans, the vegetables that are in season, the frozen fruits and vegetables, the canned fruits and vegetables. So they
Or
actually
you're not.
find
Yeah, yeah. You go ahead. Sorry,
they
sorry.
actually find that the plant-based diet can be up to 30% cheaper than the omnivorous diet. And I would argue that even for hunting, it's still really expensive. You got to maintain your license, you got to maintain your equipment. You have to have the time to go out there and sit and wait, which not everybody has, right? So that's why
Yeah,
we
that's
have
that's
grocery
circumstantial.
but
Circumstantial.
that's why we have grocery stores because hunting doesn't sustain everybody. In fact, I think there's a study on it, something like 17,000 people or 17 million. It's not enough. It's not enough. We're billions right now. So hunting is not sustainable for one. Second of all, there's nothing you need from them. We just covered this, right? So all your proteins, all your needed minerals and stuff, you can get those from plants. And you can actually get them even cheaper from plants. So, again, what justifies taking out these animals when you have cheaper alternatives?
I mean, I personally, I wouldn't say it's cheaper, but
Okay. So where do you live?
I live in Louisiana.
Okay. And how far away is your closest grocery store?
About 30 minutes or so.
Okay, so that's pretty damn close. What is the barrier that keeps you from eating plant-based?
There's no. I mean, for one, you talking about plant-based meat,
You don't have
like
to.
specifically, or just
You
like
don't have to.
because
I honestly, I only eat those as like a treat. Like I feel like I want to eat junky foods or something, then I'll eat those. But I eat a whole food plant-based diet. So like my protein sources are beans, seitan, tofu, rice. I also will sometimes eat wheat, even though I think I have a gluten sensitivity. But yeah, bread is also, has protein.
yeah.
Yeah, there's other options that you can
I mean, I
choose
might be
from.
wrong here. There's not much protein in that though, is there?
Well, maybe not in bread specifically, but in
I
seitan
mean,
and
like in the rice
soy.
and the in vegetables, stuff like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say vegetables and fruits are high in protein. I'd say that's where tofu, tempeh, or seitan, that's where those come in. Those are more high
I
protein foods.
Yeah, I haven't tried the other two you said, but tofu I know is disgusting. I could never eat tofu.
I did feel the same about tofu when I first went vegan, and I avoided it. I avoided all soy for like the first 5 years. So you don't have to eat soy to be vegan. But to be honest, all my fears of soy were based in pseudoscience. I thought it would, mess up my estrogen and, just cause a whole bunch of health issues. And it's actually turned out to be really healthy for my diet. And I've learned more I've read studies that show that people who eat more soy tend to live longer and have healthier years of life. So I've actually increased my tofu. Once you figure out how to cook it, that's really the trick. Because I agree, tofu was like this slippery, slimy thing that had no flavor to it, but so is raw chicken. So is most raw flesh. And you have to season it and cook it, and then it'll taste delicious however you want it to.
Yeah, I actually just thought of something. Do you have problems with like eating eggs and drinking milk and stuff like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, so we'll start off with dairy. A dairy cow is a mammal. When do mammals produce milk?
When they're I guess giving birth or not giving birth, but after birth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're honestly above most people. A lot of people don't even know that. So she has to have a baby. Do you think the farmer waits for her to get pregnant, or do you think the farmer sets the situation up?
I mean, obviously he sets it up.
Yeah, exactly. So then once after 9 months, she gives birth. If she gives birth to a boy, what do you think happens?
They grow up and use it for meat.
So they don't get to grow up. Cows can live to be like 20 years old. And these male calves are raised for veal, which is no more than 2 years, typically about 6 months. So that's
Yeah.
what happens to them. And a lot of times, if the farmers don't have access to a market, they just use a shovel or a gun right there, or a pew pew. Sorry, TikTok. They just end the life of the male cow right there. Do you think that's fair?
No, in that sense, I mean, what is he killing it for? Like just for no reason?
Yeah, because as a farmer, you have limited resources to spend on the animals you're caring for. You need to have a return, so you can't have animals that are a waste of money. You'll have to feed them, give them medical care, right? That's all expensive. So they just off
I
them
don't know
because
if
they're a
that
waste.
happens. I mean, I can't speak for
Oh, it
outside of where I
happens.
live. I just know where I live, they are sold. Like that's a big
Right.
business around here.
So it's either if the farmer doesn't have a market, that's why they off them just day one. If they have a market they can sell the baby calves to, then they're raised for veal. They're only raised for about 2 years though. They can live to be 20. So it's like a dog, right? Can you imagine if I was raising dogs and I was pew-pewing them in the head at 2?
Oh yeah, I mean,
That'd
yeah,
be
I
so
understand. I
sad.
wouldn't compare a dog to a cow, but
Why
yeah,
not?
I mean, I couldn't probably give you like an exact reason.
Did you know they
I
call
just where I
cows
draw the
grass
line, I
puppies?
guess. Do what?
Did you know they call cows grass puppies?
No, I've never heard that. No.
Yeah, they like to play with balls. They're very much like dogs. So they like to be pet and they like to cuddle, and they can do tricks. They're very smart. In fact,
Oh yeah,
dairy
no, they
cows
are.
specifically are one of the most studied farm animal. They're extremely maternal, and they found that these dairy cows that have been rescued, if they were pregnant and they give birth on a sanctuary, it takes the cows will actually take turns caring for the calf. So it's like one of those takes a village to raise a calf deals. And they actually even have certain calls for each other. So they have names for each other. Like what morally justifies doing this to someone who can name fellow individuals around them? Like what
Yeah,
justifies doing this to them?
yeah, I understand. I mean, that's just the difference between me and you. You know, I just draw the line, somewhere else.
But
But
why? Why do you draw the
I,
line there?
because like I said, I mean, that's just the way like that's just I believe. Going back to the whole religious thing, I just think the
Yeah, but
animals
again, just because you have the
were.
permission, that doesn't
Yeah, I mean,
mean
it's not. I
like
mean,
my God could say, because you have a fist, you have the right to punch all non-vegans in the face. Does that mean I should go do that?
no, but it's
The
you
benefits
weren't
would be
given.
great.
Hold on, you weren't given the fist to punch people though.
How do
That's the
you
thing.
know? That's what my God
Animals.
told me. My God said, I gave you
Okay,
fists
yeah,
to go
I
like
see where
this.
you're going. I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we're gonna
Well,
disagree on
we
that
already talked
sense.
about your religion in the
Yeah,
beginning,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I could
But you're kind
join
of
your
going.
religion.
You're going like the permission. You have permission to.
Right. Your God
But
doesn't
it's
require you, right? I asked, could I join your religion as a vegan? And you said yes.
you can.
So
Yes.
I
Well,
could devoutly
what I'm
worship your Lord and at the same time not abuse and exploit other animals.
Yeah, look, all I'm saying, like, I just want to be clear on like the permission part because obviously you're going to disagree, but what I'm saying is animals were put onto the earth for
Do
this
animals
reason.
feel?
Yeah, some of them.
So do they care about what happens to themselves?
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean,
They
I
do.
don't
We know
know.
this. The only
Okay,
way that
yeah.
we know that other humans are sentient is by watching their behaviors, because we have nonverbal, low conscious, or I wouldn't say conscious, low cognitive humans, right? But they're still there. There's still someone in there, and we shouldn't exploit them. And other animals are much the same. Just because they're not focused on the same things you are, they still care about what happens to themselves. And you don't have to. There's no necessity for you to use them. And your book even says to not use them unless you have to.
I don't think it says that, but
Well,
yeah.
then can I just kick dogs for pleasure?
No, you can't kick dogs for
Right. There needs
pleasure.
to be a necessity, right?
I mean,
Like if I'm
you.
defending myself, there's an understanding that I might kick a dog to defend
Oh yeah, of
myself, right?
course, yeah. I mean, if you're
Right.
defending yourself, yeah, because
Right. But that
we're
doesn't
above
mean
dogs, yeah.
but that doesn't mean on my own time when I find a random dog that hasn't done anything wrong that I should go kick them just because there was another time that there was some dog that was doing something and I defended myself. I'm just saying, just because we have these capabilities, you need to justify if you're going to use them to violate somebody else. So what
Now,
is your justification for doing this to other animals?
first of all, I just want to say, like, I completely understand everything you're saying. Like, you know, I have nothing wrong with anything you're saying. First of all, but
I just
I
more like,
mean,
why aren't your actions in alignment with your actual principles of not exploiting others?
I mean, I don't know. It's just, I mean, that's just the way I feel, I guess. You know, I feel like animals, you know, that's what they were made for. They were made for us to consume, to use for farming, you know, for milk, for eggs, for food, for, you know what
That's
I'm
because
saying?
you put that purpose onto them, right? We did the same thing with human slaves. We ignored what they wanted and we put our purpose onto them, which was
I
just as
mean,
immoral because they're a sentient being who deserve their autonomy, just like other animals.
I can't compare humans
Yeah,
to
but you
animals,
can't tell
but
me what the morally relevant difference is.
I mean, we're just gonna disagree on that
I mean, because
because
you can't vocalize what the difference is.
well, because I don't think animals are on the same moral standards
But
as
that's just a
humans.
might makes right argument. You're literally saying, because I have the ability to do something, I'm going to do it. But there's a victim involved, and you're not considering their best interest. You're only thinking about your benefits.
Look, I want to bring this up just because you know this is what I've seen growing up where I'm from. You know, I used to squirrel hunt a lot, and there was an area where no one hunted at all for years, and we went there flooded with squirrels, so many squirrels,
Yeah, they're probably seeking
and
refuge.
they were all, for the most part, like half of them were all inbred. There's so many of them. They
Hold
had
on 1 second.
diseases.
So I do have a comment from Vegan Heretic that you might like, and I'll return to your squirrel story. But Vegan
Okay.
Heretic he's a Christian vegan you should go check out. He's on YouTube and here on TikTok. In Eden, God gave humans plants to eat, and there was no death. Hard to claim animals were made to be eaten when nobody was eating them. So he was just trying to say when animals were first created, it wasn't for us to use them, it was for us to care for them. Your squirrel thing, what I would say is the issue is that those squirrels were limited in their space. If they had room to live, they wouldn't be all inbred in one spot. What the problem is that we're using all of this land, we keep encroaching on other animals' property with animal agriculture. We have studies on this that if we stop farming animals, we could feed more humans and at the same time rewild 75% of our agricultural land. And that's North America and South America combined. So these squirrels wouldn't be confined to one spot. They'd have space to spread out and they wouldn't be as inbred. Because I don't know if you noticed, nature existed before humans took over. And there was a system that was working just fine.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So humans are the reason why these individuals get clumped into a corner and then they have health issues because of it. So it's not their fault. And we shouldn't go pew pew them. We should stop encroaching on their land and taking their lives. So don't you think
Yeah,
if we can make the world better for everybody, that's what we should do?
no, I understand what you're saying.
Okay. You can go ahead and respond. I know I brought up two things there and that wasn't fair. The religious aspect from Vegan Heretic, and then we were talking about the squirrels and how they were inbred. Did you have any
Yeah,
responses?
sorry, I was searching up because I don't know the exact verse, but I was searching up to go back to what they said. Animals weren't meant to be eaten.
Yeah, because
I'm
when God first makes the world, right, he makes the Garden of Eden, which is the
Yeah,
perfect place. And
yeah,
Adam
maybe
is
yeah,
supposed to
at the
be.
very beginning, at the very very beginning, yes.
It's not until sin enters the world that now you're given permission to survive a harsh environment, right?
Yeah, I mean that's cool, but
But your
you know we're
God
still
already defined what perfection was with the Garden of Eden. And then again at the end times. So at the end times there will be no evil on my mountain. I don't think I'm quoting that perfectly, but the lion will eat straw with the ox. So your God is saying, there will be no death on my mountain, that there won't be any exploitation. So that you're sandwiched between these vegan values. In between, you're living in sin. Don't you think that would be a time for a test that in the face of pleasure, you do the right thing. Like, yes, this feels good, but there's a victim involved.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Everybody's telling me to pass the ball, so I'm very glad I got to talk to you.
Well,
You know,
could I ask
I
you one
respect
last
everything you're saying.
question and then I'll
Yeah,
let
yeah,
you
of
go?
course, of course.
So, how many more animals do you want exploited for you? Like, if we could live in a world where we got everything we wanted without using animals, would that be more ideal, in your opinion?
I mean, already technically we could have everything that we need without animals,
Yeah.
but you know, I feel like I've already kind of said my piece on that aspect. You know, I think we could survive without animals. I think we could,
Well, then think
but
about if you were the victim. If your oppressor knew they could live without using you, what would you want them to do? Keep using you or stop?
I mean, if I was put on this earth to feed or whatever somebody else, I mean, that's just the way
We,
it
we already
goes, I
went over
guess. You
that.
know,
We
I mean,
already went over that. The
I
animals are
guess
not
it's
here
just
for
the
you to
way.
eat them. They're here for you to care for them. You're supposed to be their steward.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. A good steward doesn't take their head off.
No, you're right.
Yeah. All right. Well, would you be willing to watch a documentary?
On being vegan.
Yes, but it's more focused about Christianity and Jesus and how he lived his life on earth.
How long is it?
I think it's like an hour and a half. It's really good though. They did a good job. Like
Maybe,
regardless
maybe.
of what you feel like you should be doing, it's a really good film. I think everybody should watch it. It's called Christspiracy. It's not a religion debunk film. It, like I said, it's looking at the original sea scrolls and trying to understand the actual Bible and what it says. You should also go follow Vegan Heretic. He also breaks down the Bible really well and talks about how it actually does relate with veganism. But would you be willing to watch Christspiracy? It's on my website. If you were to go there, it's the third. If you go to see what I fund, you'll see there's like 3 documentaries I have listed. Christspiracy is the third one. If you click on it, it takes you right to the website, and it's free to watch.
Okay. If I'm being honest with you, I'm probably not going to. But
Well, I would say then you should be more willing to double check how you feel because you're taking someone's life, right? And you don't really understand why you're doing it. You think that your book says one thing, but I encourage you either go read your Bible, go talk to Vegan Heretic, or watch that documentary because I think that you're being fooled. I do think that people that are religious have been manipulated. And I think that if I was in that religion, I'd want to know that because I think it's really clear in the original text what Jesus wanted.
no, I understand.
Okay.
And why
'Cause
is everybody hating on me, bro? Why everybody say closed-minded? I feel like I'm just getting shunned over here, man.
Well, because I think if it's the vegans, they might be trying to say that, you're not even considering the victims. You just keep thinking about your perspective. You keep thinking about your pleasures instead of the victims, right? Like if I already asked you, if you were the victim, what would you want your oppressor to do? Keep using you or stop?
I mean, I've already, I
You
don't want
want
to
them to
just run in
stop.
circles.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
want
want
them
to
to
just run in
stop.
circles. I mean, if I was put on this earth for that reason, I mean, that's just how it goes. That's natural selection.
So I
That's
birth you into existence and I say, you're going to be tomorrow's dinner. You think that's okay?
if you were God, yes,
I
I
put
think.
that purpose on you. I am basically your God. I gave you life. Do you think that's okay?
What'd you say? Sorry, I was reading
So I
Trenton's
birth
low
you in,
key.
I birth you into existence for my own purpose. I decide what your purpose is. You're going to be tomorrow's dinner. Do you think that's
Well,
moral?
in my mind, God, is
I'm telling you,
chose the
God
purpose
told
for
me
me.
that I get to eat you.
Well, I mean, anybody could say that,
But so how do you know when God actually says something?
because it's in the book.
Yeah, but doesn't God like send you messages and signs in real time?
Yeah,
How do you know that I'm not a messenger from God?
because using my logic and knowing what God stands for,
I don't
I
think you
know that
know what
He.
God stands for.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, Trenton, I have a question for you. So you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
talking about the Bible. Do
Can
you?
I say something like real quick before we start? I just want everybody to know in the comments.
Don't worry about the
I'm not
comments.
the one that's trying to keep this going. I just want to say
No,
that.
don't worry about the comments. Have a conversation with the people you're actually talking to, not
Okay.
the people in the
All right.
comments. So when it comes to the Bible, do you agree with everything that's in the Bible?
Yes, I think I know what you're going to bring up, but yes.
Okay, so you agree that if a man grapes an unmarried woman, he must marry her and pay her father.
Does not. It's out of context. I know where you're going with this.
What context would make that okay?
Well, show me the verse. Show me the verse. I gotta go look at it.
Deuteronomy 22, 28 through 29. There's several. A woman is considered unclean longer after giving birth to a girl than a boy. It literally talks about how to treat slaves, how to have slaves. It says, slaves, obey your earthly masters as you would your God. It does all sorts of things like that. Is that something that you agree with?
If you go into where and what was going on in this time, right? This was in like the worst time in history where they were worshiping false gods. They were having slaves. Everything like that.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. If the Bible was created by God or written as a message from God, then why does the timing matter?
What do you mean?
Are you saying God's morals changed?
No.
No.
That's not what I'm saying at all.
So then, since this book was written by God or people who spoke to God or whatever, wouldn't that mean that what it says in that book, those morals, still should apply today?
Look, what I'm trying to get at is during this time, it was so out of hand. What God was saying when He was saying this, I know it sounds horrible when you read it just like that. It's like, okay, why would God ever say that? Well, He was trying to limit it in a way because because it was so bad at this time. He was trying to limit it, and he can't just say, snap my fingers, boom. Now there's no slavery. He could.
So God doesn't have the power to stop.
No, he could, but that's where it goes. That's where we get into the argument of free will. He gave us this free will.
Okay,
there's evil people in the world.
I just want to hold on. I don't want to go down this road for too long because it goes away from veganism.
I understand.
But if we're talking about why wouldn't God just not condone these behaviors at all? Why is this little baby step of treat them well, do this, do that? Why not just be like, hey, no, this is not okay.
He did say it was not okay.
Women are equal. Don't enslave someone else. All these different things. Why wouldn't it just say that, regardless of the times?
He did say it was not okay.
No, he
definitely did. He definitely did.
There is not a place where he says slavery is not okay.
Yeah,
there isn't a place that he says that. He frequently talks about graping women. He frequently talks about paying for women, concubines, all these different things. So if that's where you get your morals from, I'm going to question your morals.
1 second. I'm doing a little Google search. Look right here, Exodus 21:16, which states that anyone who kidnaps and sells a person or holds them shall be put to death. It very clearly says you cannot have slaves.
Except that it actually does say in all different areas of the ways to be treating your slaves and how your slaves should be obeying their masters. So sounds like mixed messaging to me.
No, because look, what I'm saying is He's not going to force people to do anything because then that's not a just fair God. Because where's our free will at if He can just force us not to do anything?
Can I ask a question? So if God is trying to meet you halfway, wouldn't He be doing the same thing with the animals? He's trying to say, yes, you're allowed to use them, but I don't really like it. Because you're trying to say that God was saying, I don't want you to enslave humans, but do it nicer, right? Why wouldn't it be the same for the animals? God saying, I don't want you to do it, but do it nicer. You understand that slavery, since we don't need it, is wrong. Even though your God is saying, in these times, do it better. Why would you also not abstain from enslaving other animals if you agree that enslaving humans is wrong?
because I think animals and humans are on two different playing fields.
You haven't ever expressed what that difference is.
Because I feel like, I don't want to say it's obvious, but
It's
I
not
mean,
obvious. I need you to tell
I
me.
feel like because because we're just not gonna on the religious standpoint, we're just not gonna agree.
You're
Because
you're deflecting, you're not answering the question. What is the morally relevant difference that makes it okay for you to ask for knives to be jammed in one's throat but not the other?
no, because we were put on this earth to serve God,
That doesn't
and
matter.
animals are put on this
That
earth.
doesn't matter. All right, I think
It
we're going to
doesn't.
call it there. We're going to call
All
it
right.
there.
Okay. Well,
I do appreciate you coming up. I think, Frisia, you brought up a great point. It's just like, if your God, like, I mean, not only is the God normalizing slavery, but if we go off of what the guest was saying, that God didn't want slavery, he was just trying to meet them halfway. It's like, well, why wouldn't that be the same case with the animals? Why wouldn't we see that, yes, this is an atrocity. Slavery is an atrocity. Even though God is giving rules on how to do it the better way, we know that we shouldn't do it at all. Why wouldn't you do that with other animals? Like, yes, we're given permission to do this, but we see the victim, so we're not going to do it. I just don't, that's so inconsistent. And to say that there's this obvious difference, but never articulate what that obvious difference is, I really think you need to think about that. Maybe talk to your God about that. I would really strongly encourage you to go watch Vegan Heretic, because he does talk about how the Bible is contextual, and you might be missing some important context. So anyway, thank you, Frisia. That was great. Let's see. Real quick, actually, before I bring up the next guest, I see y'all here, and let's see. Stasia, come on up. Before I bring up anybody else, though, hey, what's up? Good to see you.
Hey, hello.
Awesome.
I caught you on my lunch break.
Yay! Awesome.
Yay!
Excited to have you up here. Let's see.
I just want to I know that last guest is gone, but I just want to I find it interesting that he actually talked about what I usually talk about, which is when the Bible was written, and that it was a different time and things were different. And I think it's interesting he brings up the idea of free will when it comes to slavery. But like you said, what's the difference? Can't you use your free will to be a better human being and take better care of God's creatures than to continue to do something that is wrong? Because if God or Jesus could talk to us today in 2026, they would not want us to be doing what we're doing. And I don't believe that a religion that teaches compassion would expect you to keep treating these animals this way. They're sentient beings. And especially because it's not.
That's such a good point. The compassion. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't practice I was raised Catholic. I don't practice it anymore, but it was supposed to be a religion about compassion and being kind and forgiving people. And, God created the animals before he created humans. So they weren't put on the earth for us. They were here before us.
Yeah. Exactly.
If anything, we were put on the earth to take care of them. And again, maybe this comes down to interpretation, but use your religion to be a better person, not to continue to do something that contributes to cruelty. It's 2026, right? It was a different world when the Bible was written. People didn't have the options we have today. God and Jesus would not condone factory farming. I'm sorry, I just don't believe that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I mean, the same. I was raised Catholic. Obviously I don't believe in any of that anymore. And
right.
I find it horrible how many atrocities have been committed in the name of God. This God that, is supposed to be benevolent and all of these things. And it's yet how many wars have there been? Yeah. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just, I don't think that it's a good place to get your morality from, considering what has been happening throughout history in the name
I
of
agree. And you can't, you have to be consistent. If you really, really believe in the Bible, and that's fine. If that's your religion, that's your faith, it's a part of your life and you believe it, I respect that. But you got to be a little realistic and have some perspective. It was written by human beings who, in a lot of cases, weren't even present to witness the stories they're writing about. It's been translated and republished over and over and over again. So things have gotten lost in those interpretations. And if you're going to say that well, we have free will not to practice slavery, then you also have free will to practice veganism. And I don't think God or Jesus is going to be like, oh no, we said you have to use animals, so you have to eat them. They're not going to be like, you can go vegan and still believe in the Bible. Like,
Exactly. And we covered that with that gentleman. We kept saying, I was like, I could join your religion as a vegan, right? Your God doesn't say you have to, just gives you permission. And that's the same thing with the slavery. Like, it's, you kind of have that permission. You have to do it in these certain guidelines, but we all know that that's wrong. So it's like,
well, and I don't think they're giving us in 2026 permission. They're giving those people in biblical times permission. And and again, it was more of a survival issue back then. Today we have grocery stores with hundreds of thousands of items and coffee shops and bakeries and restaurants. And, it isn't necessary these days. So I think God would want us to do the more kinder, compassionate thing.
I mean, Jesus is depicted with a lamb over his shoulders.
That's right.
Not a lamb that's bleeding.
right. With a you know what in its
exactly
in its body.
Hey, Lori.
Exactly.
Hey, Lori. I hope you weren't waiting there long.
Hi, Frisia. Hi.
Thank you all for the hearts and the puff hearts. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Frisia. I saw you also sent me a heart. Thank you. That was very sweet of you.
I am still learning how to use YouTube Lives. I don't know how to do it yet.
I haven't even started. I have to learn that too.
Yeah, it's been an adventure, I'll tell you that. YouTube though, you can't really bring up guests. That's why I like to do it this way, because then it's like I can talk to them. They have a link, they can come over here to the TikTok and request up if they want. But all right.
Yeah, I think it's smart to do both. That's what I would like to do.
Yeah. Gifts, whoever gave me gifts.
Yep. Oh yeah, thank you for the gift. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
I missed that.
That's so sweet. Thank you, Oh. That was very kind of you. Haven't seen you in a minute. It's good to see you out here. Aw. All right. Well, then I guess we'll go ahead and bring up the next guest. Let's see. I just wanted to run through, see if there were any like really good questions in here. Even a cow eating grass ferment the grass until it is all eaten up by the bacteria, and then that's how the cow gets its protein from the bacteria, and it don't eat meat. Yeah, that's true. Cows don't. All these herbivorous animals, they get all their protein from plants. All right. Go ahead and bring in the next guest then. Taylor, you've been very patient. Are you over 18?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan yet?
Well, first I'm going to say I've talked to a lot of vegans. I feel like you're the nicest, so I appreciate that.
Well, you caught me on a good moment.
yeah, for sure. I think vegans, like the vegans I've talked to and the vegans I know personally, are some of the smartest people, and I think it's very hard to debate vegans. But I would say for me, health in a very broad term, and I can kind of break that down. I did try to go vegan once. I lasted like 30 days, and I felt like absolutely awful, to be honest. Like, so I agree with like the morals for sure. I have like a couple questions and speculations, but I was like referred to like, I don't know the exact name of the website. Like maybe it was like some like very like vegan.org, something like that. And it was supposed to like, you're supposed to get a nutritionist for free that helps you.
Oh, Challenge 22?
I just found, it might have been. I just found like it was not helpful, and I had a very hard time. I'm sure like you've heard like people like try to go vegan, and I'm a picky eater, not that that's an excuse, but it was very hard for me. I feel like I got headaches. I just felt like low energy. I was an athlete. It was just like not a good time. So I would say that's one reason. The other reason I agree.
Can I ask real quick? I just want to ask real quick. So were you saying, just as a clarification, were you saying that you went to that website and you signed up for the challenge and you were talking to like the dietitian, or was it just that it was too much to sign up for that? I can understand that.
It was free to sign up, and you got like a free nutritionist.
Yeah, but I was asking, did you do that? Did you actually sign up for it? Okay, and then you spoke to the professional?
Yeah, I just feel like it was not helpful for me. I feel like I could have like.
Well, what did they tell you?
Maybe it was like, like they gave me like so like I'm in Tampa, and at the time I was still in Tampa. So they're like, okay, like here are like grocery stores near you. Like they helped me like meal prep. They gave me like different suggestions for like my like pickiness, I guess, and like kind of like told me like, hey, these are like things you may not know that have protein. These are things like, here are supplements you can take to like have B12 if you're like not eating meat, stuff like that. So I tried to follow it. I was just like miserable, to be honest.
So what happened? What was it that went wrong? Is it just that you felt not good and you didn't talk to a professional afterwards?
Yeah, I guess it was just like I felt like I was eating, like, this might be an awful like analogy, but I felt like I was eating like cat food in a sense. Like I was like, this is like not
What were you eating?
enjoyable. I hate beans. I did try the tofu. I did try cooking it. Maybe I'm just a bad cook.
What about
I also
seitan?
do not like I don't think I tried that. I don't think I know what that is.
Oh, okay. It's just the protein from wheat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I do not cook often. I don't like cooking. I'm a
There's a lot of
takeout
pre-made stuff.
person. Yeah, I find that
So,
it's like
I do want to be
Sorry.
clear. No, you're fine. So I hear you that things kind of went astray. Did you care? Like, what made you want to do this in the first place?
because I do agree that like I have a question about like the sentience. So I definitely acknowledge that animals like have that sentience. I don't agree with like what we do. I don't think I have like the moral thing that it's like totally wrong in the sense. I probably don't have a good justification for that, but like in the terms of like what we do, like the mass production, like the stuff that is normalized today to do the mass production, that did bother me. So I was like, let me try this.
Do you know why factory farming exists?
Supply and demand.
Yeah, we can't meet demand with these larger farms because they take up more resources, more land, more water. They emit more greenhouse gases. So we don't have, and we're already maxed out. We're using 83% of our current agricultural land just to raise these animals. So
Can I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
So the sentience thing, because I agree that, these animals are sentient and they have, similar to humans, but do you think they have the same sentience experiences that we have? Like, do you think they're equal?
Well, I don't think you and I even have the same experience.
Versus like I'm talking more about like human species versus non-human species.
Yeah, I think humans though, even on a human to human basis, are extremely different. So of course I think that a human to other animals is different. The way that we perceive the world, our experiences that we're having, the way we interpret our emotions. But what matters is that they have emotions. They have this care to keep having the experiences. They prefer to be comfortable and have pleasurable experiences, and they avoid suffering just like us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is there any like research backing what would happen? Like, because I don't think it would ever happen that everybody is vegan, but what would happen if that happens? Like, is there any harm to the animals still?
If we stop using them?
Yeah.
Yeah, greatly that gets reduced. There's the largest meta-analysis on this is called Reducing Food's Environmental Impacts Through Producers and Consumers. They're the ones that I was getting that quote from, that we use 83% of our agricultural land for them and their food, for other animals and their food. So if we stopped using them, we could free up land that could be left for wild animals to take up, that would increase biodiversity, and we'd have more free animal neighbors. We would not be breeding domesticated animals that we've handicapped into existence anymore, so we wouldn't have to feed them.
And is there any like research that like, because I'm super uneducated, I don't know if this is like a thing, but is there any like research that shows if we go more plant-based that we're harming the animals by like taking their food because they eat plants?
No.
Okay. That was probably a stupid question, so
That's okay. Yeah, no, we do raise more plants for the animals that we breed into existence. That's why that land mass use is so big. 83%, we're growing crops that have to feed these other animals. And I don't know if you know about the trophic pyramid. It's trophic pyramid
No.
is a zoom in on ecowebs. You know how in any system all these animals are interacting with each other. A trophic pyramid is zooming in on a section of these ecowebs of how these animals interact with each other, and it's showing how energy transfers in these systems. The best way I can say is like the food chain, right? We know it as you've got the grass, the herbivore, the carnivore, right? And every time that the carnivore consumes the herbivore, you're losing 90% of the energy that went into the herbivore. So when we raise cows, right, we have to put in all this energy, water, space, food, and the animal's alive and moving. They burn off energy while moving and thinking. So 90% of what we put into the cow is lost through heat. We only get 10%. We will always be using more resources to use other animals. That's what that trophic pyramid shows us.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah. So if we stop breeding them into existence, we don't have to feed them as many plants. That doesn't harm them. There's fewer of them that exist. That's all. And then as time goes on, they'll slowly drop off. The longest lived ones are dairy cows, and they're about 20 years. So after 20 years, we wouldn't have domesticated animals, and we'd have all this land to rewild.
Gotcha. And then do you think that it would be possible to have like any type of law protecting these animals, like any type of federal way to make people vegan?
I don't think that making a law when the people aren't behind it is effective, because then you get like prohibition, right? People going underground. I think what needs to happen is people talking to each other about the morality of using others. And I think that the more people that become vegan will vote with that same principle. And then we would have laws that are backed by the people that would support and protect other animals. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was just asking that in the terms of like, if it is really that bad and this is like totally the wrong thing, why is that it's not protected like under some type of law anywhere?
I mean, because the people don't see that yet. Just the same way as why human slavery lasted so long, right? Like that was an atrocity for so long, hundreds of years, literally. And it's like, why didn't they stop sooner? It's because there wasn't a group standing up yet, And now we have people standing up against them. And it's something like if we have 3% of the population speaking up for other animals, that's going to make a huge difference. And they've shown every time we have a rights movement, that's when we start to see that big shift in how we view others. And it's already happening. Like more and more people are aware of veganism. More and more people are starting to become aware that animals are sentient and that it's not necessary that we use them. And there will be a tipping point. So it's just a matter
this
of
may
one
be a
person at a
little
time.
this may be a little bit of a cop out, but I if in a perfect world I could choose, like I wish it was just like always that way, so that because I feel like it's so hard to switch.
Yeah, no, I
So
get
I feel
it.
like I just wish I was like born and it was like never like I never knew it, so I wouldn't, a little bit
Yeah.
of a cop out, but like
So
perfect
do all
world.
that see such times, right? If I can quote Gandalf there. Everyone that lives through a hard time wishes they weren't in that time. But at the same time, this is your moment to shine, to do what's right. Every time I looked in those history books at people that were on the wrong side of history, I always thought if I was in that time, I'd stand against the social norm and stand up for those that are being victimized. And that's kind of what right now we're seeing, is that you have an opportunity to stand up for those that are vulnerable and not just go with the flow, recognizing that there's a victim. So there's something you can do. And, it sounds like you have a good heart. You recognize that there might be something wrong. You're curious and you're not, totally holding back. It's just, it sounds like your actions aren't in alignment with that principle quite yet.
Yeah. Do you have like I know you have like the antianimaluse.org. Is there like a resource you would recommend that is like for people trying to be vegan that maybe have had a hard time with it?
I mean, the best thing is to talk to a dietitian, but you said that didn't work for you. The other thing I would say is the Dailey Dozen, which is also in my antianimaluse.org, but you can also just Google vegan Dailey Dozen. and it's just an easy checklist on how to get all your needed nutrition on like a whole food plant-based diet. And the way that I think about it is I will eat that diet to make sure I get everything, but sometimes I'm lazy and I don't, eat the whole food plant-based. So I take supplements as like this lazy way of making sure I get everything. And that's literally it. And I don't even really think about it much anymore. I know the products that I like, and it took me maybe 20 minutes to figure out how to eat. Like I'd type in my favorite meals in Google and put the word vegan next to it. And there's a vegan alternative, if not already pre-made, some basic recipe on how to make my meals. I'm so lazy. I don't spend a lot of time cooking. So
Yeah.
I suggest, actually, you could look up Cheap Lazy Vegan. She's on YouTube and she makes really great meals for really inexpensive and really simple. She's a great chef online. There's a lot of them though. You can even look up on TikTok. Like I said, put in your favorite meal and then put vegan next to it, and I guarantee someone has made it. And
For sure, yeah.
it might inspire you too, because I also, before I went vegan, I was scared of cooking. And I don't know, when I found out there's all these alternatives to my favorite dishes, I got excited and wanted to try making them. And if I didn't like them, I'm like, how could I improve it? Like, I don't know, this creative spin just took off. All these different foods opened up to me. But it was because I was motivated. I didn't want to demand someone be enslaved for me. Like, I had companion animals that I had to say goodbye to. And I know that those animals that I was crying at saying goodbye, I know that the other animals that we use are just as sentient. They want to live just as badly. So I was like,
Is there like a vegan? Is it like I haven't heard this before, but like having pets, is that okay? Like cats and dogs?
I mean, to purchase someone to be your entertainment, that is exploitation. But if you're someone who has the ability to give somebody else a rich life and you end up building this relationship in that's beautiful. That's totally understandable and needed, because we're stewards of these other animals. But
yeah, like I rescued my cat. She was a street cat, but
yeah,
I don't know how that falls in. Like I know like it's better to rescue, obviously, versus
it's about
like
your perspective.
buying.
Is your what's their name?
Kiggy.
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 Kiggy. Oh, that's cute. Is Kiggy a family member, or are they just part of the house?
Kiggy's my daughter.
Exactly. See, that's the difference in perspective. You see their personality. There is someone, you care for their best interests. Yeah. That's a companion.
For sure, yeah.
I'd say
and I
that's
feel
beautiful.
like I would say like I really can understand the veganism thing too, because like while like I obviously non-vegans, obviously they view cats and dogs different for sure. But like in the sense that like, is it possible to have like that companionship I have with my cat? Somebody can have that with a cow. Like I believe that. Like I don't know. I've never like
you should look
met
up,
a cow and like been up with that, but I believe it.
You should look up.
People actually do.
I was gonna say you should look up if there's any sanctuaries in your area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I was gonna say too. There's a creator on TikTok who has a pig. What's the pig's name? I believe it's what? No, I was gonna say Merlin.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I believe the page is called. Yeah, I believe the page is called Merlin the Pig or something like that.
So cute.
And he is so smart. He uses all these different buttons to talk, and it's really incredible. Really, really incredible. And what's interesting too is that they have a dog as well, and I can't remember the dog's name. You can very clearly see the difference between intelligence between the cat, between the dog and the pig. And Merlin is so smart and just kind of a smart ass, honestly, but he's so funny.
I love
Do you
that.
feel like I don't know if this is a thing, but like in the terms of like transitioning, like obviously it's probably like okay to like do it slowly, taking like the action versus I feel like the first time I did it was like I was like, oh, for sure this is awful, like I'm gonna do it, and then like I feel like I just like went too hard into it in the sense where I like cut out all animal products, and I was like, I'm like going through withdrawals. Like I know that's probably not a thing, but like it felt like that. So like I feel like it's better to like do it slowly.
So I understand that making change can be difficult sometimes. the way that I always say is you take it as each opportunity is presented to you. So don't think about like, oh, I got to make all these changes. It's just that every time you're presented with that next opportunity, like maybe your next opportunity is a meal and you're trying to think of what you're going to eat. In that time, just, Google the meal you're thinking about eating and put the word vegan next to it. Or like maybe you're using some kind of ground beef, try using TVP, which is just soy chunks that have been crumbled up. And once you season them and soak them, they literally can taste like beef crumbles. Just doing it like that instead of thinking of all your changes at once. I would say, though, if you think of it as baby steps, you're still only thinking of your benefits and you're not considering the
Yeah.
victims. So I do understand why you went so gung-ho in the beginning and maybe you just didn't have everything you needed. Honestly, if you want, you can like send me questions and message me anytime. And
Same.
I was gonna say, like, I'm sure any vegan on this panel would be open to helping you because it does sometimes take a whole community to help others. That's actually why Challenge 22, 10 Weeks to Vegan, veganeasy.org, all these websites, they provide community because we're finding that tends to be the largest hurdle is having someone to talk to while you're trying to overcome obstacles. So yeah, I would
For
love to be
sure.
that community for you. Or if you want, you can try the 10 Weeks to Vegan, which is on my website, which is you would be put in a group with other new vegans, people that are trying to overcome their obstacles. So it's like you're not being judged, right? You don't feel like you're talking to someone who's been vegan for a decade, but
For
something
sure. Yeah.
on your
Well,
par.
I appreciate it. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
Part of me wants to stay up because this Peter guy in the chat doesn't. I don't want him up. He's annoying. He's falling in there. Bring somebody else up so he stays mad. But I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
I do love your bite. I like that. That's fun. All right. Well, Taylor, I am gonna drop you for now, but if you could, okay, you drop down. If you could maybe just go check out the anti-animal use, kind of just click around, look at the resources, see if there's something that might be helpful for you. But I would love to stay in contact. So please, please reach out. In fact, I'm gonna go follow you as well. Cool. All right. Well, I
Yeah, it
appreciate
helps.
the honesty.
It helps when you have other vegans that you can reach out to. That's what helped me.
Same. Like, I really don't think that. Hold on one sec. Partner's trying to tell me that I had something that I wasn't paying attention to. Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you. Wow. So on YouTube, I've got Savvy Coops. I call him Spooky. Everyone, only those that know call him Spooky. Anyway, it costs you nothing to be vegan. It costs the animals everything when you're not vegan. That is exactly the point, too.
Yep.
It's always better for the other animal if you live vegan. Always better. So, yeah, thank you, Savvy. 20 euros. Wow. Thank you so much for that. Savvy's always spoiling the vegan community. Thank you, Savvy. Dubs in the chat for Savvy or Spooky, whichever one you want to put. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. I don't have anything I'm doing with the money yet because I want to have something that I regularly do. Maybe I'll just donate it to a local sanctuary. Right now it's just in a pile, and it saved me one time because I didn't have any money in my account, and YouTube just dropped the money in there, and I luckily it was just the timing. I was stuck in a parking garage and it saved me. So I was like, how am I going to get out of this parking garage? I have zero money. So that saved me. But other than that, I haven't touched it. All right. We have Heartbreak Kid. Hey, are you over 18?
Yes, I am.
Cool. Why aren't you vegan yet?
I am not vegan because I do not base what I consume off sentience.
Okay. What is sentience?
It's a great question. To me, plants are sentient.
What is sentience?
I go by my definition. I believe anything that communicates with something has a level of sentience.
So you think our phones are sentient?
Your phone does not communicate to another phone.
Yeah, it
without
does.
Without a network to it. You could turn your phone. You could turn your phone on off, and it's not going to communicate to any.
How do plants communicate?
Plants communicate through fungi and their roots.
That network, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So my phone is sentient then?
Your phone is not natural.
What is natural?
Anything that exists within nature.
Okay, what's nature?
In the environment.
All right. You know what?
Yeah.
Let's leave the phone alone. Okay. So let's go back to the animals, I guess. What we recognize that animals are sentient. If you think plants are sentient, I'm sure you imagine that animals are. Sentience just means a subject having their own experience. So like they have their own experience of joy, of suffering. So if they do, that means that they have moral worth. They deserve moral consideration, right? If we're going to morally consider the sentient plants, I know this sounds counterintuitive, but we would eat the plants directly, because right now we're breeding more of these sentient plants into existence just to be fed to the animals that you use, the sentient animals. So,
Okay.
I mean, if we care about harm reduction, right? That's not what veganism is, but if we care about harm reduction, we would go vegan because we wouldn't demand so many sentient beings being tortured.
So then my question to you would be that it isn't about the consumption of a sentient animal. It's about or the reason why you consumed it, or the process of how you got to consuming it. Correct?
I would say it's about necessity. Yes. Like I'm only consuming, I'm consuming those that aren't sentient. And if I was in a necessity situation where I was going to die, I can understand why someone would cross that principle to survive. But most of us we're not in that situation.
Okay. So then my next statement would be, if I were to, out of necessity, have to kill an animal.
Right. That's what I just said. That's
Correct.
That's understandable.
That is perfectly within my reason to consume that animal.
Okay. So right now, are you in survival mode?
I'm asking you about this thing. Right now, I'm not threatened. I haven't killed an animal.
Okay. I don't know what the question was. Go ahead and say it again.
Yes. If I were to kill an animal out of necessity, do I have the right, by your standards, to eat that animal? I killed it out of necessity. I had no choice.
Right. I don't know if you have the right. I would just say I wouldn't hold it against somebody in a survival situation, because the individual you're using still wants to live. So I don't know if you necessarily have the right to their body, but it's understandable that you would violate someone to survive.
Okay, so
I guess, hold on, I just want to just add something. So veganism is against the unnecessary exploitation of sentient life.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Yeah.
Understood. So then you can be vegan and eat meat, as long as you're not consuming it based on the practices that you don't agree with.
So it's actually a mindset. I don't view other animals as resources. I don't see them as walking hot dogs.
Okay.
Just like I don't see other humans as walking hot dogs.
I mean, just to understand, like, we wouldn't look at the people in the Andes Mountains in the 1970s that ended up eating other people out of sheer necessity as being like immoral individuals. We would look at that situation and reasonably justify it out of the necessity that they were in, but we wouldn't ever look at that in any normal circumstance and be like, yeah, it's okay to just willy-nilly eat a person. So that's kind of like the idea here is, when we're talking about human animals or non-human animals, we would just kind of throw that gauge on of like, initially, is this necessary? And if it's not necessary, then yeah, it's going to lead us to not consuming them, not exploiting them when we don't have to.
So I'm really glad you brought that up, because then that leads me to more of a clarification question, right? With the first one, where you said that if out of necessity I had to kill an animal, I could consume it. Let's assume that at that point, I'm not starving when I killed that animal.
Okay, so if you're not starving, then it's not a necessity to eat their body. If you had to unalive that animal based on something like they were attacking you, something like that, where you actually had to do it, but you don't have to consume their flesh, then that is not considered a necessity.
Okay, so then Then my next question, I'm glad that clarification was brought up. So the body should go to what?
The
What
earth.
should the body do?
You don't what like the earth. You don't need to do anything.
Okay, so then
If you unalive a human,
coyotes
are you
come
gonna
and eat that kill. That is perfectly reasonable for a coyote, correct?
Heart, really
Yes,
quickly.
because coyotes aren't moral agents. Coyotes are moral patients. So therefore, it would be okay for them to go ahead and consume the body of someone that you had to unalive because they were going to harm you. It's perfectly fine for a moral patient to then go and eat the flesh of that animal.
Okay,
You're not a
so
coyote, though,
The quick
correct?
follow-up question, Hart, is: are you going to eat, like, if you had to defend your life from a human who was attacking you and you end up unaliving them, are you going to consume them?
eating a human would cause damage to myself.
How so?
Human meat by nature is not meant for us to consume.
Okay, so hypothetically, if you found a human that was totally clean and it wouldn't cause you any harm, is it okay for you to now consume them? In that
So there's a
scenario?
human that exists. We're doing this hypothetical thing, okay? So there's a human that exists where their body structure is different from us, right? So they're not our brand of human.
No,
they're
they
a different
just
species
you won't
completely.
you won't get garu garu or whatever it is, like the prion disease. There's no prions within this human that you're
So this is not a human. This is something
No,
else.
It is a human.
How if it
Not
You
all
can be
humans are
devoid of
infected.
prion. Yeah, you can be devoid of prion diseases as a human. That doesn't make you not a human. So
Okay.
you could have a human who's confirmed by science. The scientists review this person. This is definitely a human being, and they don't have any prion diseases that you're going to get from consuming them. And you just unalive this human in self-defense. Are you going to consume them now?
completely different laws and regulations behind that because you
Okay,
just
so assuming
did
it's-
say that they're a human.
Assuming it's legal, are you going to do it?
So it's legal. So it's legal. Everybody can do it. Nobody will. It's a society norm at that point because it's legal.
Do you think
Nobody.
legality,
There's no.
Do you think legality defines morality, or does morality define legalities?
I think there's a little bit of both. But I want before we get off this topic, I do want to approach something because if I don't, I'll forget it. You said we are moral agents and creatures are moral patients.
Well, humans are also going to be, there's also humans that are moral patients, like children or people with cognitive difficulties of various kinds are all also going to be moral patients.
Okay. Can you educate me in the difference between a moral agent and a moral patient?
I mean, moral agent is essentially just someone who can rationalize, right? They can, go through the outcomes of their actions. They can introspect. They can consider their actions like full through. In terms of like whether it's going to cause like harm, whether it's going to cause exploitation, like they have the ability to conceptualize all these kinds of things. Whereas a moral patient is not always going to have like a full picture of their actions in any kind of like meaningful way. Like a moral patient, like a baby isn't going to understand, like, if a 2-year-old toddler gets a hold of a pew pew and accidentally starts firing it off, they're not going to be aware of the consequences of like pulling the trigger on that pew pew, right? So that's kind of the variance.
So then my thing I would bring up is that I believe that
Hold on.
animals are also moral agents.
Sorry, Hart, just a second. I just want to add one more thing when it comes to moral patients. Moral patients are deserving of moral consideration. I mean, everyone is, but moral patients from moral agents especially are deserving of moral consideration in the same way that we give moral consideration to children, even though, they aren't moral agents, that kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. I guess my confusion on it is that then I would consider animals moral agents as well, based on how their morals are aligned.
I would just say they're not moral agents of human constructs. They are moral agents of their own constructs for sure. Yeah.
Because, the host made the perfect analogy for this. We all don't have the same morals. Everybody on this panel, we don't all have the exact same morals. That doesn't make our morals wrong or right. We're all equal.
Yeah, but there are some things that we agree on.
Okay, so then
the point would be to
are we saying that our moral I'm asking, are our morals more important than the morals of an animal? Do we have better morals?
I think that animals matter more than our taste pleasure.
Okay, so the question I had again, and I promise I'm leading this somewhere. Are our morals more important than the morals of animals?
I don't know what that means.
So an animal has morals, correct?
Okay.
So when you say moral agent and moral patient,
Okay, so I wouldn't necessarily say that animals have morals. I think that they have certain structures between them in certain ways, but it wouldn't be the same type of like moral or ethical stances that humans have. Does that make sense?
yeah,
The whole point would be
we
that
are saying that
they're
our
not.
morals are different than theirs. I'll agree with that, but they still exhibit many of the things that we call morals they experience.
Are you
They're gonna
just
have
trying to
moral,
say?
like,
Oh, go ahead, Keith. Sorry. Go ahead.
sorry, yeah. Yeah, I mean, they can have moral like behaviors, but like again, to the extent of being rational, like that would be the whole concept here would be morals that are conceptually thought of rationally. Any kind of morals, quote unquote, that you would see from a non-human animal aren't going to be thought out. They're not going to be like well thought out morals that are like thinking of all the various ins and outs, like all the upstream harm, all the downstream
I think that's his
harm, all
point,
the other
though.
consequences.
I think what the guest is trying to say is that because animals have a lesser morality, that our morality trumps theirs, therefore we can ignore their sentience and use them for our benefit. I think that's what guest is trying to say.
That's not that isn't.
Well, then
at
why
all
would you
what
ask me
I'm
who
trying to
has
say.
a better morality?
Because
If you're
I
not
wanted to see
comparing
your
them.
opinion on that.
I don't
The
think
question
I
that
don't
the
think it
question I'm leading
matters. You know
to.
what matters is that we care about what happens to ourselves. We have humans
Uh-huh.
that don't understand human morality. We don't think
Okay.
it's okay to exploit them.
Okay. And again, you will have me at the factory farming. I will not combat that.
I
So
didn't
if
say that.
veganism but the statement
What
that
I said was we have humans that don't understand human morality, right? We still
okay.
do not exploit those humans, correct?
Correct. So those you're saying that you and that even though y'all have different morals, you would never exploit them.
Right.
Okay. So then our morality is on the same level as animals. Because that's
still
the
don't know
argument.
what your
If you have
point
morals
is.
and they're different than mine, then I
How is
shouldn't be able to
this
exploit them.
how is this justifying you violating somebody?
Okay. So again, this is my belief. Like I said in the beginning, I believe that if I do kill something, I need to, especially an animal.
Why are you killing them?
Yeah,
Okay.
Hurt, my confusion here is what exactly are you up here advocating for? Are you for
I'm
or
advocating
against?
that
Hold on. Are you for or against the exploitation of others?
against it.
Against it. Okay, so then what are you up here arguing for? Because we are
That
talking about not exploiting others. We are all saying, all the vegans here, we're all saying, let's not exploit others. We disagree with exploitation. We don't think that it needs to be supported. We don't want to support it. So why are you up here advocating for it?
this is the part that I wanted to get to. So if I kill this goes back to the killing the animal. If I kill an animal out of
Why are you
necessity,
looking for a loophole? Why are you
it's not a
looking?
loop. It's not a loophole because it exists. Not and outside of just this,
It
I
doesn't
was going to make
exist.
this my main
Okay, so
point
how often?
when I got like the
how
clarification.
often-
If I need to even bring
Hart,
it up,
how often are you put in a life or death situation with another animal?
I'm glad you asked that. So let's take that. I agree with you. You're not pigs.
How
Wild
often are you
pigs.
put in a life or death situation with a pig?
What? No, listen. No. Wild
No,
pigs.
I'm asking you a question. I want to know exactly how. No, I want to know exactly how often are you put in a life or death situation with other animals?
If I answer your question, can I then proceed?
Maybe.
Okay. Me personally, not often.
Not
Now,
often. Okay, so then why is this relevant to why you aren't vegan yet?
because I live in Texas, and wild pigs in America are not native. They are an invasive species.
So are you saying that you go out and you unalive these pigs?
Yes, the farmers pay majority of Texans to do this.
Okay, and what are these farmers? What are they farming?
Crops.
Crops for who?
You, me, animals, everything. They're crops. They can
Okay, and
they sell
do you
those
know how
crops to
many
whatever
crops?
merchant buys
Do you know
them.
how many crops are needed to be produced to feed 92 billion land animals?
I personally don't.
Would you agree that it would be the majority of crops since there's only 8 billion humans?
Yeah, I would say. I think
Okay,
animals
so
eat
the
all
need
crops.
to protect these crops really stems from the need to protect the food for the animals that are then who are being exploited and will then lose their lives.
Well,
Do you get where
it
I'm
needs
going
to
with
protect.
this?
If you're going on it needs to protect the farmer because that's his livelihood is farming.
Is farming to exploit someone. If we eliminate who need like the exploitation, if we eliminate the animals that need to be exploited by no longer breeding them into existence and using them and trying to make money off of their dead bodies, then there wouldn't be the need for so many crops. More land could be rewilded so that there could actually be space for other animals to live, and we could try to get back the biodiversity that needs to happen in natural ecosystems around the world.
Yeah.
Well,
for the record, like
I would
70,
agree to that
75
if it was any other animal besides the wild pig and the python and flora.
Hard again, like 75 to 90%, like to just to add a stat to this, like 75 to 90% of the crops grown in Texas are not grown to feed to humans directly. These are feed crops to give to livestock animals. So it's not like you're like, oh, I'm protecting this crop so that it can then like eventually just like make it to a human's mouth or something like that. You're protecting a crop. You're basically unaliving an animal to protect a crop that can then be chopped down and then fed to a livestock animal to then have that livestock animal unalived. So it's just like completely circular.
The farmer is the one who should take the pain out of this, right? In your situation.
The farmer should be moving away from animal agriculture.
Pigs exist in every county in Texas but one.
Yeah, Hart. So let's just make this really simple too, right? So like we can just steel man your argument. So if we have like a situation where someone is going out and it's deemed like 100% necessary, right? Like all these conservationists put their minds together in a room. They tried to conceive of ways of dealing with like a particular problem that's affecting like let's just assume these crops are grown to feed humans directly and it doesn't have this secondary problematic imperative of them being fed to livestock animals. Let's just say that part is gone and these are crops that are grown to feed humans directly. So all these pigs or whatever are coming by and they're chomping down on all the crops and they're like, shoot guys, we're literally running out of food. People are starving to death because there's not enough crops. And they're going out to unalive these pigs, not only to prevent that from happening, because they also found no other way of dealing with it. Like they tried all other non-violent interventions to try to deal with these pigs. Unless it's absolutely necessary to consume that pig's corpse, in no way have we approached a justification to now consume their corpse afterwards. Like you might be able to reach some relative justification to unalive them in some absolute state of necessity to protect these crops so that humans don't eventually end up starving because we have no crops left. But that would not then just give like an immediate imperative right to now consume their corpse simply because you were trying to defend crops.
And I understand that because again the immediate thing was against the exploitation and abuse of animals, which I understood. But now that we've addressed that is not, nor in that scenario that you just gave, that's not abuse, nor is that exploitation. We still should need them.
Oh, it's still exploitation, but it might be deemed as necessary exploitation. And this is like a steel man for your argument. Like when it comes to actually dealing with this, there's all kinds of things that we could, actually try to implement that are not currently being implemented to try to manage, animal species in non-violent ways or ways that would help with like the environment. And one of the biggest ones would be returning native lands back to native ecosystems. When we understand that we could reduce the total agricultural land required on this planet by about 75% if we were to change to a plant-based agricultural system, that means that's a heck of a lot of rewilded space that can help with carrying capacity. It can help with reintroducing native predators. It can help with reintroducing a whole bunch of other animals that benefit the ecosystem and can help manage these populations of invasive animals that you're talking about. Furthermore, the pigs that exist in these scenarios are essentially a runoff of the animal agriculture industry. Pigs refarrow themselves very quickly. So the feral hogs that you're talking about were just, your standard pig that you find on farms, but they escaped. And when they escaped, they refarrowed themselves within about 6 months or so. And then they start procreating, and then you get, the problem that you're talking about. So animal agriculture created this very problem. So in no way, shape, or form does any of this justify the consumption of animals in animal agriculture. The only kind of relative justification that you could reach for your scenario would be to unalive them out of absolute necessity, and then consuming them would only be justified, again, out of absolute necessity. But again, all these things are being pushed away and thwarted because we're not actually doing any of the other options. Like, we're not doing habitat modification. We're not doing resource management. We're not doing barrier installation. We're not reducing edge zoned habitats. We're not restoring predators. We're not doing any of these massive things that would innately help these animals reduce in population. Because guess what animals they unalive for animal agriculture? You're talking about the animals that they unalive for plant agriculture. Take a quick guess as to what animals they unalive when they recognize there's an animal coming by and eating their chickens. What animal did they unalive there?
The animal that's attacking their livestock.
Yeah, a predator. The predator that would help with maintaining the ecosystem when it comes to the animal that you're concerned about. So animal agriculture is one of the most prominent cyclical problems to this thing that you're against and you want to resolve. If you want this problem to resolve, the biggest core fundamental thing we need to be doing would be long-term ecological approaches, not simply this short-term, short-sighted perspective where we just go out and start pew-pewing them. That won't actually innately fix the problem. We need to, one, get rid of animal agriculture, two, restore native ecosystems, and alongside that, restoring predators. And because we get rid of animal agriculture, that will also mean we would reduce the amount of predators being unalived to protect livestock by a very large margin as well. And then that would help with the controlling of these other animals that you're concerned about.
So then you would agree, based on that I think it's up to 6.8 million wild pigs last census. All of those need to be removed somehow. You agree with that?
I don't know if it needs to be the case that they need to be removed.
They are invasive species. Pigs should not be in North America.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
Why are those pigs there?
Because in 1500, Christopher Columbus took 3 on a boat.
Yeah, animal agriculture, right? Maybe we should stop doing that so we don't keep making invasive species. Okay, so do you understand your part in that?
I understand that I'm trying to solve an issue.
Why are those animals there? Besides the pigs, the other animals you use, why are they there?
Pythons? Python is the other animal I used as an invasive species.
So let me get this straight. All the foods available to you and you eat wild pig and python. That's all you eat.
No, I remember I told you that the reason why I am not vegan is because I don't I don't eat based on sentience.
Okay, so why do you
I believe that
humans?
everything is sentient, so I eat it all.
Why do you respect humans?
Why do I respect humans?
Yeah.
I don't.
So in your mind, we should be able to eat each other when we just feel like it.
If it's helpful to your diet, but again, humans aren't.
So you don't even believe in human rights. Wow. That's really sad. I think we're going to call it there.
My statement is...
We're done. If you're going to say that it's okay to use other humans, that's not okay.
It's really weird that people will instead of when you ask them, is it wrong to exploit a human and also consume them? The answer isn't yeah, that's morally wrong. It's, oh, I would get sick.
Yeah.
Dude,
that's terrifying.
Forget that. There's all kinds of cannibalistic tribes and groups that have existed throughout history that have consumed humans and turned out totally healthy.
Yeah.
Right? You can do this action and turn out healthy. it's the immoral aspect of exploiting a sentient individual that's the problem here, not your
Exactly.
health.
Exactly. That's why I was getting really turned off. I was like, "Oh, wow, guy, like you're not even recognizing other people. You're just like, oh, that doesn't benefit me the way I would prefer. Gross. Gross.
I also just
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
like I just really have issues with anyone who's like, "Oh, I consider everything sentient, so I just use them all." Like that's such a cop out.
Yeah.
Such a cop out.
Such a cop out. Like you're literally saying that you're on the menu and you would find it moral if someone used you just because they could. Like,
yeah.
ugh.
They also don't back it up with any tangible amount of
Any
evidence.
Yeah,
They're
nothing.
just like, I think they're sentient. Cool. Like, even if we ran with that, here's like the case where it would cause less harm to all of them altogether
Yeah.
if we chose plant-based. And then, and then furthermore, there's no supporting evidence you're really going to find out there that plants are sentient.
Yeah. I think it really comes down to they're trying to say, I don't care, you know? And it's like, well, you don't care because you're benefiting. And the oppressors always benefit. Like you're always going to see your benefits, but what you should look at is the victim's perspective. Anyway, guys, that was awesome. You did a really great job. Took a team on that one. All right. Are we ready for the next one? I'll bring up the next guest. I did also want to point out, Lewis made a good, oh, I'm sorry. Was someone going to say something? Oh, I thought
I was just saying, yeah, bring him up. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Hey, Ook, or one Ook, I'm not sure what to call you. Give me 1 second. I did want to say, Lewis, you had a really great point that all moral agents are moral patients, but not all moral patients are moral agents. I really like the way that was put. So I just wanted to kind of give that a echo. Anyway, what can I call you? Is it one Ook or is it Luke? I'm not sure.
Just Luke.
Luke. Okay, cool. Why aren't you vegan yet?
What? Why am I not vegan? I'm broke. I don't have afford eating vegan food, and I think also that it's good that people get food.
What is expensive that vegans eat?
Basically all of it. I live in Sweden,
what?
so
name one thing.
Like corned beef.
Corned beef, like the brand?
No, like the actual like beef that is corn.
Here, real quick before we just
or chicken, fake chicken,
Luke,
stuff like
Luke,
that.
Let's pretend I provide like a budget plan for you that completely allows you to consume plant-based, and it absolutely fits within your budget. In fact, we could even say it might even save you a tiny bit amount of money here. Are you now going to change your dietary pattern to consume plant-based at that point?
Yes, definitely, but I don't think it's possible. I mean, if you could do that for all the people in the world, that would be great.
Well, yeah, when we look at
possible.
name. Well, I'll pass it back to VSL, but like name a few more products here that are plant based that you find you don't have the ability to afford them.
I mean, even salad is expensive here in Sweden. I don't know about America. You have like fake products as well.
What do you even eat?
I don't know. What?
What do you eat?
What? I eat meat. I eat like the cheap stuff that is meat.
Just meat, huh? Just 100% meat all the time.
No, I eat fries, I eat potatoes, I eat salad sometimes.
So you eat salad sometimes, potatoes, and meat.
And then also, I'm not vegan. I'm not vegan because I don't know how to be vegan as well. So
Okay, so Luke, I want to give you there's this one animal rights vegan activist. His name on here is Vegan Design, and he's in Sweden. So so he will have a lot of really great resources for you. He does a podcast as well, which is escaping me at the moment. I think it's still called Vegan Design, actually. Yeah, so he's in Sweden, and
I mean, I respect you guys. I think it's cool to be vegan. Like, it's cool to have like a diet that's healthy and it's good for the environment. But I still don't think I could.
Luke, I mean, again, like your answer seems to entail that you absolutely desire to be vegan, right?
No, I don't desire. I mean, I feel like it's kind of like.
Okay, well then
same
we got to
thing.
go back to my prior question again. So like if you had the ability to have your budget be met while consuming plant-based, are you going to make that choice to consume plant-based?
I would eat plant-based and I would also eat meat.
Okay, that's what we need to discuss. Why are you still consuming animal products even when you clearly in that, hypothetical situation don't need to be doing that?
Yeah, okay. Okay, let's discuss it then.
Yeah, what's your justification for continuing to exploit sentient beings if you have no, real need to be doing it?
What do you mean by sentient being? You mean animals?
Yeah, human animals, non-human animals, these are all sentient beings.
Human animals? What's a human? I'm just curious.
A human would be a mammal belonging to the hominid genus under the kingdom Animalia.
Dude, I'm not a scientist. I'm sorry.
Well,
please explain.
Yeah, I mean that's what a human is.
That's what a human is.
Oh, you're talking about humans. Oh, I don't eat humans. I would never
literally
eat a
asked
human.
what a human animal is, and Keith was answering you.
Yeah,
Can you
human
please follow?
animal. I mean, like humans aren't animals, and
humans are animals. We belong to the kingdom Animalia alongside all the other animals.
Okay, I learned something new. That's cool.
Yeah. So we find it like problematic because for all the same reasons we would find it problematic for someone to needlessly oppress and exploit and consume like a human, for example, we would, and doing so needlessly when they have other means of avoiding it. For all the reasons we would find that to be wrong is effectively the same reasons we find it wrong to do the same kind of action to a non-human animal. So
do you want this for all people in the world, though?
Well, we want people to avoid the exploitation of sentient beings. Yes, globally, that would be the ideal.
So for the people who don't even afford to eat rice.
So no, hold on. So Luke, the question is again, it's very specific. I literally have said it multiple times.
It's just about me.
It's the idea of avoiding exploitation where it's possible, right? We're not asking for people in situations where it's not possible to suddenly make an impossible situation somehow possible. We're asking when you have the means to avoid exploiting a sentient being, you should be striving to do that. That's the idea.
Yeah, okay, I got you. Yes, I would definitely do that. But because I don't like the way animals are treated in like the slaughter, like the way we slaughter animals. It's kind of absurd and it's disgusting. And that part I don't like, but like
so
basically
then again, I just want to go back to my prior question then and just double check then. Are you saying that, assuming I give you like the means to consume a plant-based diet and it fits within your budget, you're saying that you would now choose to willingly consume fully plant-based in that kind of
I mean, if I would save money on it, I would definitely go ahead and do it.
We'll even I'm not even going to include that imperative. I'm just going to say it's going to cost exactly the same. Like let's just say that. Would you now consume
definitely.
Okay. Let's say it costs $5 more per year.
I would do that.
Okay. So like you have like a reasonability gap where it may cost more, it may cost less, it may cost the same.
Yeah, of course.
There's certainly like a range where if it's way too much, it could be, understandable, but yeah. But yeah, so like just so you understand, like the World Bank did a study with the Lancet where they analyzed countries globally around the world to find out how much different dietary patterns cost in a modeling study. And on average, plant-based diets can cost up to 1/3 less than typical Western diets, where it's typically heavier in like meat and dairy. Vegetarian and flexitarian diets also saved quite a bit of money, like about 14%. So the diet that actually ends up saving the most amount of money is actually a plant-based one. When you were naming a few foods there earlier, it seemed like you had like an idea that a vegan or plant-based diet involves needing to consume things like corn, QUORN, or having to consume things like impossible meats or things like that.
Yeah, because you cannot basically live on salad, though, right?
Well, no, I wouldn't recommend. Salad is not a form. Salad, like leafy greens, those are a source of micronutrients. They are not a source of macronutrients.
So and water.
Well, yeah, you obviously want to consume water.
No, but I mean in the salad.
Oh, yes, water within. Yes, I see what you mean. Yeah. But yeah, like when you're trying to consume plant-based and you want to do so in an inexpensive way, you would want to focus, not only on like, making sure it's like overall fairly cheap items at the store. So like, beans and whatnot, but also making sure.
But where can I get that type of foods though?
Yeah, I mean beans, legumes, grains.
Oh,
Um,
beans. Oh, I love beans though.
yeah, beans are a great source of calories and fiber and protein and micro
So
and
if you were to
macronutrients.
suggest one meal that I could eat every day and still be healthy, what would that be? Just for a beginner's lesson, you know?
Sure, probably like a grain type of bowl,
Oh, so
like
like oats?
something that would include yeah, it could either be oats, it could be things like rice, it could be things like beans, it can incorporate some like nutritional yeast, it can incorporate other spices, it can incorporate some different like cheap veggies like root vegetables like potatoes and stuff are very inexpensive. You can
Yeah,
incorporate some like greens on the side with that. That would be great. So that would be
yeah.
like an overall like good choice. You could also
But the,
like look for things like tofu or tempeh or seitan, which
yeah,
are also like rich in protein. But yeah, if it's just like a practicality thing, right? Not ethical, because like again, you're telling me just to confirm if I just kind of like gave you a bunch of money, like I'm not going to do this, but if I gave you $1 million, you're basically telling me, okay, I'm gonna go fully plant-based right now because I can
no,
easily
not
afford that.
fully like straight ahead because it's very difficult to reset the body, you know? It's when you eat meat, it's kind of
Let's just
addictive.
yeah, I don't want to dig into that too far, but let's just say you would strive within the next like 2 to 6 months to go fully plant-based.
Yes,
Okay, so
that would be
like
nice.
basically, there's no like argument seemingly here about like the ethics of it. You're in alignment with that. It's just the practicalities. So what I would
Yeah,
recommend for the practicalities is not only the resource that Frisia mentioned to you. You can try to reach out to Vegan Design or check
yeah,
some of the resources that Vegan Design has under his page for Sweden. But you can
yeah.
look into resources like there's global resources, and they're in the link tree in my bio. So you have things
Yeah.
like veganeasy.org. You have things like Veganuary. These are all like websites. And
But
Vegan
can I
Survey
go?
has.
I have a question though.
Mhm,
Can I go like cheaper on the vegan side and still be
mhm.
healthy?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Is
In
that,
fact,
can I save,
it,
can I like save money on this?
Yeah,
yeah,
can I
yeah.
interject? Because I've actually done this, and
Yeah,
I was
please.
unemployed for over a year,
Yeah.
and I was still vegan. One of the staples, one of the meals I eat a lot of, because you get almost all of your nutritional needs, is rice, beans, and vegetables.
Rice bean. Okay.
Yep, rice, beans, and veggies. And I forget, there's like two nutrients that you might not get enough of that you can either supplement or, um, make sure that you incorporate foods that have it. And I'm sorry that I can't remember that right now.
Oh, don't
Um,
worry.
Be like
but
vitamin D
yeah, and
maybe
like
and
you could even,
B12, but you can get them from
yeah, so
fortified foods.
it's something like that. Yeah. Um, and you can even have like a side of like whole grain bread, to get some more grains and some more nutrients. But it's in what I do is throughout the week, I just, once one batch is gone, the next batch has different vegetables or different beans or, and
Yeah.
you can use herbs and spices, or you can use like sauces. It's a
Yeah.
really versatile meal, and it's not expensive, and
No, that's not
it's a
expensive.
complete protein. Yeah, and it gives you tons. It's packed chock full of nutrients.
But can I eat eggs though?
Not if you're vegan, no,
But why though?
because
Yeah,
the eggs are not for us. The eggs are for the chickens. The chickens are still
Oh,
being
but they're not
exploited for meat.
fertilized though.
It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's a product that's made by the chick. It's not for us, and we don't need it. You don't need eggs. You're not going to unalive if you don't eat eggs.
Right.
Yeah, that's true, but it's a
Yeah,
nice, it
it's
sounds like a
eating.
nice meal though. In the
Well,
beginning though, if I try to
yeah,
convert to vegan, I would put an egg there in the beans, rice,
no,
and salad.
no, but that's not vegan.
No, but like in the beginning, just to like get into it,
Do you know why
to get.
vegans don't eat eggs?
I don't know.
So we took someone from their home, we took the red jungle fowl out of the forest, and we made her mate with somebody so that her baby was deformed for our benefit. And we did that over and over and over again. She only laid like maybe 13 to 15 eggs a year during part of the year. Now these individuals lay up to 300, and they're pushing them to try to go to 500 a year. That's, I mean, if you go up to 500, that's more than an egg a day.
Yeah.
So that's like, how is that ever fair to demand somebody exist with this
I got you.
handicap?
I mean, I
Now,
will.
you have to
There's
remember, veganism isn't about animals being unalived, even though that's part of what happens to them. It's about the exploitation, which is unnecessary.
I will say
Sorry,
there's.
Keith.
No, you're good. I was gonna say there's
What cheese can I eat though?
sorry, what?
What cheese? Like cheeses?
Oh,
Cheese.
there's vegan cheeses that you can look into, but yeah, we would avoid dairy, dairy from cows and goats and whatnot, because
Okay.
same story there, right? Like the
Yeah, I
cow,
got
for
you.
example, the cow comes from an animal called the auroch. The auroch only produced about like 100 to 200 gallons of milk per year for their offspring, and because of our actions selectively breeding them over time, they now produce upwards of 2,000 gallons of milk, per
Yeah.
year. And, it causes mastitis, it causes infections, it causes leg splaying, it causes all kinds of issues, in terms of like bodily function and things like this. So we want to move away from a mindset where we view them as a commodity, as a resource, as someone to use. I will mention there's a product. I'm trying to pull it up again, but it's actually an animal-free egg white. It's made from like a fermentation process, so it basically ends up as like a powder, but it's actually verbatim so identical to typical egg that it actually comes with an allergen warning that if you're allergic to eggs, you shouldn't eat this product. But it doesn't come from having to exploit and use a chicken to get it. So you can look up animal-free egg whites. So if you really want to have something that like imitates egg verbatim,
Yeah.
you can look into something like that. It might be a little bit more expensive, and that's why I would say like don't consume that all the time. Just have it as like I guess like a treat, something that you like use in between things as needed, so that you can like, oh, I really want to have an egg right now, and I'm really struggling avoiding to eat eggs, in my transition to being vegan. I'll have one of these, I'll take a couple scoops of this animal-free egg white and I'll make an omelet, and then you can do that and move on.
Even easier,
Sounds good, man.
there's something called black salt, which I encourage you to look up. It's very
Black
sulfury.
salt. I know what black salt is.
Yeah, I mean, you could put
my
that.
my mother is into all this stuff, so I know.
So, all right, so you have the resource right there. I swear to God, if you take a piece
Yeah,
of
but she
tofu,
buys the expensive stuff.
okay, but if you buy some tofu and you sprinkle on just the smallest amount of that black salt, that tofu literally tastes like egg. Like it's wild how strong black salt is. When I first tried it, I was like, "Holy crap! Like this tastes like I'm eating an egg right there." It's amazing how simple that ingredient is. Just one little, and then you can add like garlic and onion if you want to it. But that's what I do for my tofu scrambles.
That looks nice.
Yeah, just to add, this is like an omelet someone made from that, and you can get similar results for like scrambled eggs from.
Oof.
Yas.
Similar,
Nice.
similar.
Yeah, well,
results
I don't
for
want to
doing
take up your
scrambled
time, and I
tofu.
really have to go now. But I'm gonna take with me the rice, beans, and salad, and the egg trick, and try to start off with some. I'm gonna tell my girlfriend about this. I'm gonna try it out for a week at least.
Check out the resources that VSL has.
Yes.
The link in her background.
At minimum, I would
I'm
say.
gonna follow you.
I would say
But
at
yeah.
minimum, go get that vegan Daily Dozen so you can just see how you can get everything you need from a whole food, plant-based diet. It's an easy checklist.
Yeah.
It's just called the Vegan Daily Dozen. I don't know, Luke, if you're looking it up right now.
Sorry, I disappeared. There's
you're
no
okay.
link on the bio, or
You can go to the antianimaluse.org. It's on there as well. The website that has the thing I'm talking about is called nutritionfacts.org. But like I said, if you just go to Google and you type in the words vegan daily dozen, it'll pop up.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Awesome. Well, Luke, if you have any other questions,
Cool.
please message any of us. We would love to answer your questions, okay?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna try it like for maybe like a week or half a week, and then see where it goes.
Would you be willing to watch a 3-minute documentary on your own time?
Yeah, hit me up.
Okay, so if you
Send
go
me a
on that
link or something.
website, it's the same website, this one behind me. There's a button that says "See what I fund," and it takes you to the 3-minute documentary, and it just shows you standard practice. And just ask yourself if you want to keep supporting that.
Okay, cool.
It's awesome, Luke. I really appreciate you checking out those resources. Thank you. And if you watch that 3-minute film right now
appreciate you
and I'm
guys.
still live, you're welcome to try to request back up. I'll write your name down so that way I know that you were a good person.
Yeah, no worries.
All right, Luke. Well, thank you so much. You have a good
Okay,
day.
take care.
All right, bye.
You too.
Because I added anti-animal use to my link tree. Forgot I
Oh,
didn't
thank
have it.
you. That's a good idea, actually, to have just a bunch of different ones. I just have the 10 weeks to vegan, but I do like the idea of having like all the different websites. So it's like you can decide which one you want to join.
My link tree is I have too many things now.
Well, maybe I just point everyone to Keith's link tree. It's already all collected together.
Yeah, that's what Herbivorous did. He just added my link tree to his bio.
Super easy. That's funny. Let me do a quick look around. How's everyone doing in my chats? Yes, Deb's in the chat for the guests going to go check out those resources. That's a pretty big deal. I really feel that most people just don't even understand what's going on with other animals. And there's just no right way to do it. I even had that same thought where I was like, oh, this is just the wrong way to do it. There's a right way to do it. And then I saw more and more documentaries. There's one called Cow. There's one called, I think it's called Gerda, about the pig. And these animals are on those farms that we all think that we're supporting, the animal farms that we think we're supporting. And it's still heartbreaking. I still wouldn't want to trade places with them. They still lose everything. So, once you understand that, it's like there's no point in supporting any of these systems. No matter how sweetly they tell you they cuddle those individuals, they still lose everything. So.
Look, you just haven't been to my uncle's best friend's father's
my
backyard egg
God.
farm in Kentucky, okay?
No! I don't want to go to your uncle's farm.
No, it's my
The eye
uncle's
roll.
best friend's
I
father's.
just
God.
the eye roll I just did when you said that. I'm like, no.
Exactly.
Putting dishes away. I'm just like, no.
No. Yeah, we all feel that pain when those words come out. My uncle or so-and-so has a farm. I live on a farm. All right. Well, let's see. I'm going to quickly scan my YouTube peeps. How's everyone doing over here? See any good questions come up recently? You want to replace yourself with a cow? No, I said I don't want to replace the cow. Most hunters respect the animals they hunt. If you take someone's life, are you respecting them? Was Jeffrey Dahmer respecting his victims? Yes, exactly, Tops. You can be very healthy being a vegan. Natural selection says, eat meat, part of the ecosystem. See how he boots his ego saying, see, you are a good person. Nobody is good. That's interesting because you have the name Christian in your name, and yet you think nobody is good. I thought that was the whole point, is like you're trying to be good. Okay. I don't know what the boots part. He boots his ego. Well, anyway, natural selection, where we left nature, right? We live in homes, we have technology, we take medicine, we wash our hands, brush our teeth. I would argue that just because something's natural, it doesn't make it moral, right? And if there's a victim involved, we should consider their experiences, right? They morally matter. All right, let's go back to bringing people up here. We got Surgois. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry.
Yo, hello.
Hey, what can I call you?
Just call me Danny or something. I don't know.
Danny. Okay. Are you over 18?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan?
I mean, it's mainly because of nutrition, and I've been vegan for I went vegan for 3 months, and to be honest, Sorry?
Oh, why'd you do that?
I mean, I just wanted to try it out. I felt pretty bad on the factory farms.
Okay. So you felt bad seeing the animals in the factory farms, so you went vegan for 3 months?
Yeah. I mean, I tried to go it for longer, but
I was just trying to understand. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sound accusatory. I was just trying to understand.
After I went vegan for 3 months, I did everything, went to doctors, got all the diets and everything, and my energy was just...
Just a regular doctor?
I don't know how to call them. Sorry?
Just like a regular medical doctor?
Not like dietitians and everything.
Oh, okay. So you talked to a dietitian?
Yeah.
Did you tell them I want to be vegan, or did you say I just want to eat healthy?
I mean, what else would I tell them?
I mean, you'd be surprised. I've had people tell me that they go to dietitians after they've gone vegan and they they don't tell the dietitian that they're vegan, and then they're like, oh, my dietitian told me to eat animal products. It's like, well, you didn't tell them you wanted to be vegan. They're going to try to give you a diet that has high retention.
Yeah. So basically, after I went to vegan, my energy was just so low. I was depressed. I didn't know what to do with my life, to be honest.
What were you eating?
It was just, sorry?
What were you eating that was making you depressed?
I mean, everything, like no animal products, I guess.
Well, what were you
I was
eating
eating
instead?
tofu, beans, spinach, avocados, everything.
Everything. You keep
Sourdough
saying
bread.
everything, and I just don't.
I mean,
I just feel like
all
you're
the
being.
vegan food.
I just
like, what
honestly
am
almost
I?
don't believe you.
Well, I mean, I guess. So basically, my energy was just so low. And right after I stopped eating like vegan food again, like I returned to the normal diet.
Okay.
I ate a lot of meat. So the
So,
first day,
Let's
I
say
ate like
I understand.
700.
I understand. You eat a lot of flesh, and it gets you a lot of protein. Let's say you found out tomorrow that you can get
No, it's not
everything you
about
needed.
macro. It's not macronutrients that I
Let's
want.
find out tomorrow that you get everything you need from a plant-based diet. You were missing something, you figured out what it was. Now you know you can get everything you need.
I mean,
you-
I couldn't. I need to
Hold on a
supplement it.
second. Hold on a second. Let's say tomorrow you learn that you can get everything you need from a plant-based diet. Do you then find it to be a moral obligation to live vegan if you found that out?
I mean, the thing is, you can't get any like over
So answer
50
my question.
micronutrients.
Answer my question,
Like
and then we can move on.
it's irrelevant, actually.
It's
what
not
you're asking
irrelevant.
me.
So you can't even
Would I
answer my
feel
question.
morally wrong for not being a vegan?
Yeah, I'm asking you, do you think that it's okay? Do you think it's moral and just to exploit other animals when it's completely unnecessary?
Yeah, it is necessary.
You're not answering my question. And if you can't answer, I'll
So
move
you're
on.
not answering. I mean, okay, I'm gonna be respectful as possible. No, don't kick me out. Okay. Obviously, it's bad. I don't support factory
So
farms.
if you
Obviously,
could
that's
get
bad.
everything you needed on a plant-based diet, right? Then
Yeah.
shouldn't we avoid using animals?
Yeah.
Okay. So then
But
what is it about other animals that makes it okay to do this to them, that makes them different from us?
I mean, you're not letting me answer. You're saying that you can get everything from vegan diet, but that's not true at all. I
We
can
can
name
get
you
everything.
over 15
So if you go,
micronutrients that you need to
okay, hold on a
supplement.
second. So I understand that you're one person that went on the internet and did just so much research. But if we go to like bodies of professionals that are focused on how health actually affects, or excuse me, how diet actually affects your health, we find that as long as you have a well-planned plant-based diet, it's actually beneficial to eat just a plant-based diet. And you can get everything you need on a whole food plant-based diet, so therefore it's safe for all stages of life and preventative to many
But
of our
what is
chronic
it that,
ailments.
what are the benefits?
You don't have heart disease, you have decreased risk of heart disease, of all-cause mortality, right? Those that consume plants tend to
I
live
mean,
longer and have
wait.
higher quality of years of life. So the evidence is
That's
saying that
just
we
like
can get
religious
everything.
belief, if I'm being honest. Like, so basically, I
So
don't
do you
really
know
see
what?
benefits.
Do you
Could you like
understand?
let me speak?
No.
I'm
Do you
trying to be respectful
okay.
as possible.
So the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics is the largest body of professionals that focus on how diet affects your health. They have come to the conclusion that you can get everything you need and live healthfully on a plant-based diet.
But you can't. I mean, do you want me to
Okay,
name
well,
the
if you're going to
micronutrient?
deny
No,
science,
like,
no, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian. All I can do is point to the evidence. And if you're just going to deny the evidence, then we can't go any further, right? You're just going to say, no, that's not true. It's like they have thousands of studies on this. You're going to quote a handful of studies. I just don't care to go through this back and forth on papers. You even pointed out the problem. Like, it doesn't even matter about nutrition. I gave you the hypothetical that if you could find everything you needed, would you find it to be a moral obligation? And you said no. So we didn't even get to the ethics yet. You were so focused on this nutritional bit, you didn't even want to hear about why I'm bringing this up. I don't care what you eat. I don't care if you want to be healthy or not. That's for you to do. I'm saying live the life you want to without exploiting others. That's it. You can get everything you need on a plant-based diet. If you want to be healthy and not exploit animals, you can do that. It's possible. All right. Home slice.
Well, and by the way, I
go
just
ahead,
want to
sorry.
mention that there's absolutely nothing wrong with supplements. You
No.
know, it's a, people take multivitamins every day, right? Those are supplements. Like
Yeah.
the point of veganism is not health. The point of veganism is to avoid contributing to the oppression and the exploitation because it's cruel. It's barbaric and it's cruel what we do to these animals. So if we have to take a vitamin or a supplement so that we can avoid that, so what?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, and I'm on top of that, like everyone thinks that just vegans are taking supplements. That's not what's
Right.
supporting the supplement industry. Non-vegans take so many supplements, and it's
Right.
fine. It's fine. It's just that we're saying, you know, there's
Yeah.
no harm in taking a supplement if you need
Yeah.
that.
It's okay if everybody else does it.
Yeah, exactly. Like nobody's like, oh, the
But a
omnivores are
vegan,
taking
you have
supplements.
to take supplements. Like it's the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, something like 90% of Americans are deficient in something, usually fiber. But
Exactly.
they're deficient in something. Yeah.
Supplemented livestock.
Ah, exactly. That too. You're just getting your supplement
you.
recycled through someone else's body. Exactly, Keith. Exactly. All right, Home Slice, I appreciate your patience. Are you over 18?
Thank you. I am.
Right on. Why aren't you vegan yet?
So I'm trying. I said, you know, I couldn't figure out what to get, so I just filled my freezer with frozen vegetables. But of course, I had to have my cheese. So I've been eating vegetables and cheese, which it's a pretty good start, I guess. But you know, but my question is, what will become of the cow? Because the cow, we can't just like let it go into the wild, and I don't think people would want to keep them as pets. That's a really like, do they stay in the zoo? Do they become extinct?
So
What happens to the cow?
One thing about that, scientists are actually considering that because we have a huge plethora of land that's going to need to be rewilded, and we've gotten rid of so many of the larger bovine species and just herbivorous species that used to walk like these large regions of the world. So they're considering actually re-implementation projects to rewild some of these animals. And that's obviously going to be like very closely watched and monitored, and not just like done lickety split and without a care in the world. It's going to be very carefully done. But there's quite a bit of like, you know, talk and discussion and hope concerning that ability to do something like that for them at some point in the future. But yeah.
I feel very you know, I don't really think it's going to work because they've been domesticated for how long, and you were just going to. I mean, I just don't see.
Sorry,
it
not to
working.
cut you off, but it actually does already work because that's actually how they raise cattle in Montana. In the vast majority of cases, they just simply roam the huge expanses of land. They actually don't have like a fencing regulatory process in Montana, so that's how cow are actually like currently raised in certain, you know, areas. So it does work. You can do it.
Well, my whole problem is like if we release the pigs, like we already know that became a problem. Are there unintentional consequences of releasing
there's
cows?
there's animals that can be more problematic, but that's the whole idea here, is that this would be a monitored program. It wouldn't be something that they just do again lickety split. It would be something that they actually carefully, you know, watch, and it would be, you know, not just like shorthandedly, just like, all right, let them go. It would be like monitored and tracked. There would be like, you know, tracking devices on these animals to make sure that they can like see what's happening with the populations when they're, you know,
well, I just have another problem because we already have problems with fucking deer running out in the road. Imagine a damn cow running out in the road. You know, it's just a problem.
Well,
what I'm saying is, I think they'll go extinct. Yes, they'll have to fight it. They'll keep them in zoos. They'll keep some of them so they don't go extinct, obviously, but. You know, I don't want to run into a damn cow on the road, you know? So it's a problem.
I mean, that's just the reality. I mean, people in certain like states already have that problem, like Montana, or many other states have the same like concern when it comes to like buffalo. You're just going to encounter animals, right? And that's not a bad thing. Like we already have decimated the wild animal species because of our mentality being like, I don't want to have to see this animal when I'm doing X, Y, and Z. We can definitely implement things that make it better. So like in Sweden, for example, they just implemented a new roadway system that basically lights up and the entire sides of the highway will turn green to warn you that there's an animal crossing happening in front of you by several miles so that you know that you need to slow down. So there's kinds of technology that we can implement now at this point in time, especially that will make it safer for people who are driving or what have you, so that we're not like, accidentally running into, these animals, whether it's a deer, a buffalo, a cow, whatever, we have the means to like, get around these problems. Like we're very, and like, inventive. Humans can absolutely find ways around these problems. We just take the short-handed route in lieu of the problems it causes to our planet, right?
Do you think that
Wait, hold
it
on.
would
I
be
just want
better
to
for
hold on.
do you
Home,
think
can I
you could
just home? Can I just add one more thing? So, in the U.S. right now, through the Federal Highway Administration, there are wildlife crossing programs that are being implemented, and they've been found to be really successful. So instead of having like areas where there's like when like as you're going down the road and you see the deer crossing signs, there would be a wildlife bridge that would actually go over that for wildlife, and that would decrease the amount of deer that get in the road and all sorts of things like that. Does that make sense?
It does, but I want to ask a question. Do you think it would be better for a species to go extinct entirely rather than be bred for food and abused?
I do, yeah, actually. So do you think so? I'll give you an example. So French bulldogs, right? Frenchies, and where are the other ones? Pugs. They have all sorts of health problems, right? A lot of times they need surgery because their nasal passages are so smushed and all sorts of things, right? So they have all these health problems because they are being bred to look a certain way, in the same way that animals who are farmed for food and they are being bred a certain way in order to have certain characteristics about them. So cows are way different than their ancestors were. Chickens are way different than their ancestors. These, French bulldogs are way different than other dogs, and they're having problems. And personally, I find it to be very cruel to bring an animal into this world simply because you do not want that specific variation of that animal, like a pug, to bring them into this world only to be exploited and used and have health problems through their entire life when it's really not necessary.
Yeah, and I think in a couple hundred years, I'm sure you guys have all said this. We're going to look back at our meat eating like we're going to be seen as barbarians. Like I think we're going to advance to Star Trek level. I don't know if they eat meat in Star Trek, but you get what I mean. We're going to be like, damn, we were horrible people for that. But
like Tuvok, we're going to be like, what?
I mean, that's literally like a quote from Commander Riker in episode 6, I think it is, of The Next Generation, where he's like, humanity has long since moved beyond the state of enslaving animals for our sustenance.
Well, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it, and I am trying. I bought, like I said, I bought a bunch of vegetables. Cheese is I know it's not good for me. Just on the exit.
We don't care. We don't care if it's bad for you. What we care about are the cows. Do you understand that, like a cow has to be pregnant in order to produce milk that can be turned into cheese?
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. But like someone said in chat, I'm addicted to whatever chemical that is.
So
and I can feel the
if someone is addicted to graping other people, should they take baby steps or should they stop?
I know, and I'm out of cheese, so it's up to me if I replace the cheese.
I would
well,
do like
you can replace the cheese with the vegan cheese. You can start trying the plant-based cheeses. There's a lot of brands. There's a lot of that are very, very good. There's also nutritional yeast, which makes things taste like cheese, and it's loaded with B12 to boot.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah,
I'm listening. Go ahead, I'm listening.
No, I was gonna say, mind you, the property that they're talking about, casein in cheese, the level of like quote unquote addictiveness of that is like akin to like a chocolate bar or like meat.
It's
or
not
other things.
meth.
It's not
I shouldn't say that on TikTok. It's not schmeth.
It's just a mildly habitual thing, and it elicits like a pleasure. It elicits dopamine and chemical responses in your brain that make your brain go, oh, that was yummy. Just like almost any other food that is like, high in calories and high in salt and high in fat. Like, of course, it's going to elicit those kinds of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think it's also like important to remember that like these casomorphines are in there for babies because so the babies will be like, oh, this is really yummy food and want to continue to like drink their mother's milk. I mean, that's why it's there. It's not for us. It's
Nope.
for the babies. We're not
Such a
baby
good
farmers.
point. It's like when you're feeling that addiction, imagine how the babies feel that want their mother. Like you say, that milk reminds them to go back to their mother, and we're robbing them of that. It's just like it's so unfair.
Landon had a good point. If you get clocked for using that word, just tell TikTok that you have a lisp.
Ah, such a good point. I was talking about math. Okay, math. I have a lisp. It's really hard. Oh,
You
man.
gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
have to-
exactly.
Sometimes the violations are like, what?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't understand some of the violations on here. They're not consistent. I've had people say things that are just clearly atrocious, and TikTok's like, meh. And then I say something that's just factual, and it's like, no, that's too graphic. It's literally what happens. I'm not even using graphic language. Anyway.
Yeah,
Oh, we have no
TikTok
requests.
screwed
That's
up.
weird. Say again?
I'm saying TikTok is screwed up because a friend of mine was on and she just talks about her dogs and stuff, and she didn't even make a remark, and she got like hit with some kind of a
Violation.
infraction, yeah, for nudity and stuff, and she just like talks about her dogs.
Nudity? What?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so weird.
There's
Yeah.
like something in the background that looks like boobs or something.
I don't know, man. It's crazy.
That's too bad. Like, I will say the advantage of being on here is that we can have guests up, and that is an advantage for talking to each other. I really like that setup. But yeah, if TikTok wants to keep us, they gotta try. You gotta be a little more reasonable.
I know, and it kind of bugs me because like I feel like when we dance around the actual real words for things, it's just not as I don't know what it is, but I just don't like using like unalive. Like I want to say the K word because that's what it is.
That's
I
what
want to
it
say
is.
the M word because that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Feel the same. Well, in this like TikTok talk, the way we talk now, the silly way, it actually infects me in my real life.
I
Like
was
I
gonna
literally,
say,
Me too.
I
yeah.
started saying unalive, and people are like, "What?"
Yeah,
I
my
say
friend's just
Schmurder.
like eyebrow raise at me. Is like, why are you talking that way? Because
Yeah.
I can't help it.
Exactly. It's social media. It's been, just harnessed in there because I get a slap every time I don't do that.
Yeah, someone needs to just create like, because I mean that's like the thing. Like this is just like the best platform currently for host a live, and then people can join up from the general public without having to like go through a bunch of like hoops and ladders to do
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Like there just needs to be one other, like, I don't know, Instagram or Facebook or literally anyone else,
something.
just someone else do it.
There is
Please.
a way to do it on YouTube, but you have to use other platforms
Yeah,
to
it's
like
not,
have
it's just
guests.
not smooth.
It's not smooth. It's
yeah.
not smooth, and people feel sus because they have to like sign in their email, and that feels weird.
And you
so.
typically have to like seek it out, and there's just like a sea of things. Like the thing here is like you can prioritize it. It'll just be
People are already here.
They'll be flowing through their stream of like content on TikTok and be like, oh, what's this? And
Exactly.
tap on it.
It's so much better. I do agree. Yeah. Oh, bye, Frisia. I saw your message. Appreciate you being up
bye,
here.
Frisia.
While I still have another 30 minutes. I do want to throw out there, please go follow all the vegans on my panel. Great activists, including Frisia, who just stepped down. Please go follow everybody. They make great content. They go live on other people's panels. And they're all just full of a plethora of information, each and every one of them, I swear. Like they could go into hours of conversations on talking about the ethics behind veganism. So please reach out to them. Yeah. Oh, I have a request. Shall we take up another guest?
I think so.
Let's do it. Soliman. Oh, it's still loading. Oh, there you
Hello
are.
there.
Hi. Are you over 18?
Hi. Sorry, what?
Oh, are you over 18?
Yes, I'm 18.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan yet?
because I don't want my health destroyed.
Okay. If you
Our
found
human
out
system needs meat.
if you found out that you could get everything you needed using plants, fungi, and seaweed, would you feel like it's an obligation to live
No,
vegan then?
it's not the same protein compounds, you know what I mean, in
So my question,
vegetables
so I asked
compared
you a
to
question.
meat.
I asked you a
Yeah.
question. If you found out, so follow along on this hypothetical. Let's say tomorrow you find out you can get everything you need from a plant-based diet and it's easy. Would
Yeah.
you find it to be a moral
Yeah.
obligation to live vegan then?
It's not an obligation, it's like a personal choice. You cannot force all
Do you
people to
understand
eat a
that
certain
animals
way.
feel?
I think that's impossible. Yeah, so everyone feels like pain is impossible to be abolished in society.
So other animals, it's not just pain though. They're sentient, right? They care about what happens to themselves.
Did they answer your question where it's like if they found out they could be healthy and thrive, they would
They did
avoid
not
it?
answer that, no.
Yeah, we should go back to that.
Yeah. So
yeah, I would follow it, but the issue is that such a thing is impossible for
So I just want to clarify.
our
You
system
do find
nowadays.
it to be a moral obligation to live vegan if you do find out you can get everything you need. Is that what you're agreeing with?
No, I would personally choose. I mean, but for everyone else, I wouldn't force
We're just talking
that
about you.
obligation.
Just you. There's nothing I
Yeah,
can't force
yeah, for
anybody
me,
to
I
do
would
anything.
choose that.
Okay, so you would find it to
Yeah,
be a
that's what I'm
moral
talking about.
obligation if you found out you could get everything you need from a plant-based diet.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you do recognize animals care about themselves and we should respect that if we don't need to use them.
Yes, I'm aware that
Okay.
animals.
Okay, so what is it you think you need from animals?
A lot of important compounds, as
Can you
I
name
told you,
some?
protein. Yeah, protein,
Protein?
omega-3, choline,
Just protein?
vitamin.
Protein you
Yeah,
can
a
get
lot
in
of
plants.
other stuff.
So Solomon, what is
But
protein
it's
comprised
not.
of? Yeah, hold on. Before you, what is protein comprised of?
It's. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Well, that's not going to be a very strong argument then, because your initial claim, I remember from
Yeah.
a moment ago, it was like about a minute ago, you said it's not made of the same compounds, right? That's what you said. And that's not the case. Whether we're talking about animal protein or plant-based protein, the compounds, aka the amino acids, are exactly the same. There's no difference when it comes to that. The only difference that you would see would be like relative differences in composition, like how much of each amino acid you might find in different plant and different animal-based foods. But that's true again across the board. Whether you're consuming an egg versus pork, that's going to have a different composition, but the amino acids that exist in both are going to be the same. And whether you eat a egg or some lentils, the compounds are going to be the same. The composition will be different. But as long as you're consuming, like a relatively normal diet where you're getting about, like 2,000 calories per day, or like whatever's required for your basal metabolic rate, as long as you're doing that, you're going to get the proteins that you need. You would have to be very, very under eating, to have this kind of problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
I actually
So,
think you're right, but I think another issue is that it's hard to access vegan-based diet.
well, the
It's
most
so hard to find.
62% of all protein consumed on planet Earth is plant-based protein. So the minority in this case is actually animal-based protein. So it's actually more common that people can find plant-based protein, like lentils, beans, legumes, soy products like tofu, tempeh, things made from wheat that are high in protein, like seitan. All these are inexpensive and very widely found, and they don't require refrigeration, so they don't, need to be stored somewhere, or they don't need to be put through like dehydration or other things like that to be like ready to be shipped around the world. Like these things are just like grown and ready to send out effectively. So it wouldn't be the case that that's what's happening either. Like when we look at data from the World Bank, and like the studies that they've done looking at the cost analysis and availability of plant-based versus animal-based options globally, they see that it's both more accessible and more inexpensive to consume plant-based globally.
Yeah, I see your point, but I have a question. Do you think like at least you should add some like eggs or fish meat in your diet
I see no reason
get you
to.
like full
There's no reason to, because I can be healthy and thrive on a fully plant-based diet.
Well, I think I will research more about that. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, if you want to, take some time to research it, that's fine. There's a link tree in my bio. There's the resource behind Vegan Stoner Lady. All of these things, I have like a whole host of studies on my link tree. Probably the most pertinent one that you would want to look at is the research from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So take a look.
Oh, they already left. Okay. I didn't knock them down.
Yeah.
They went down on their own. I was going to ask them like, how many more animals do they want exploited, or could they at least go commit to looking at something?
Well,
but
he
whatever.
just followed me, so
Oh, yay. Okay. Yay,
looking
that's
at my
good.
link tree. So
Hell
yeah, Solomon,
yes.
if you can hear this, look at those resources. Look at the study section on my link tree. Look at some of those studies on there, and then come back sometime and let us know what you thought.
Awesome. Well, I don't have any other requests. Let's see if there's any good questions in the chat. We need to switch to electric cars too. Actually, I don't think we even need cars. We just need better public transportation, because it is annoying everybody having their own car. I'll say that for sure. Anybody using words to put down other groups of people in my chat will be removed from the chat, just so you know. So if you keep spamming, goodbye. You're not going to be able to participate in this anymore. All right. Sorry. Someone's just spamming things that I don't appreciate. Anybody have any questions? Anybody in here that's not vegan, that's maybe not willing to come up, but has, or maybe you're not 18, you're welcome to put questions in the chat or statements of why you're not vegan, and I will try to address them. I do appreciate everyone being here. Thank you for sharing and liking and participating in this live, because it gets people in here. And that's the whole goal, is just to get as many people to, step in and listen and participate, ask questions. Because I think most people agree with this morality that we shouldn't exploit each other. I think most people agree that someone who's vulnerable isn't fair game for those that are moral agents, right? If anything, they should be protected, but at minimum, not exploited or demanded to be exploited. So I'm just out here trying to, tell other people, hey, I think we share this principle. You're just not living in alignment with it. You need protein. So you can get protein from plants. We just went over that. All plants have all the proteins, all the amino acids you need, as long as you eat a varied diet and you eat the amount of calories you need in a day, you're going to get everything you need. But if you're really worried and you want to focus on it, there's websites that are free, like there's Cronometer. There's other ones I can't think of right now, but Cronometer is nice. You can type in what you've eaten and it breaks down the micro and macronutrients of it. So you can find out if you're getting everything you need. I also will utilize either Google or an AI search engine and ask for either a meal or a meal plan. I'll say what my preferences are, the flavor profiles I like, if I have any texture issues, and an AI engine can come back with a meal plan that meets all your needs, and you can just plug that into like Cronometer or anything like it to double check, because obviously AI can make mistakes.
I would really recommend too, there's a website or an app called Eat This Much, so eatthismuch.com or the Eat This Much app. Okay. And it basically you go onto the app, you basically choose, okay, so I want to get this many grams of protein, this many grams of fat, this many grams of carbohydrates per day. Like if you're someone who's really incremental about this stuff and you want to make sure you're getting a relative amount of these things every day, and you also want to keep it within like a calorie budget, etc., you can do all that. And once you set those parameters, you can even do things like say like I want it to be low sodium and stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of metrics you can add to it, and then from there you can just check a box that says vegan, and it will make the meals be fully plant-based and vegan at that point too. So
that's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, they're a really great resource for people who are trying to just build a plant-based meal. And it's nice because it's as far as I know, I haven't used it too much, but I believe it just kind of keeps the meals like rotating and changing, so it's not like the
good.
same thing all
Doesn't
the
keep
time.
saying the same thing. That's good. That is absolutely helpful because sometimes it's hard to decide what foods you're going to put together just as a person. Like, what are we going to eat tonight? I feel like that's just an issue everybody has. So that's awesome that app exists. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to check it out myself, maybe even add it to anti-animal use because, yeah, I feel like everyone feels this concern that they're going to have to change everything. And it's like, what do I change to? So it's good to have a helping hand in those areas for sure. There was one other thing I wanted to address, and then I see we have some requests, so I will bring you up in a second. I did see someone comment about AI. Yes, my imagery in the back is done by AI, and I do use artificial intelligence. I almost said insemination. Oh my God, that would have been such a terrible slip. Anyway, I do use artificial intelligence to come up with meal plans sometimes or a dish, or I'll have it even help me out sometimes with outreach every once in a while. If you're worried about water use, then you should be vegan, right? I can understand vegans coming and talking to me about my AI use, but if you're not vegan and you're telling me that what I'm doing is bad for the environment and the water use, you'd be surprised at what animal ag does. We use 1/3 of our fresh water just for animal ag. And we use 83% of our agricultural land just for animal use. So if we're worried about encroaching in on nature and other human neighborhoods, if we're worried about water use, you should live vegan. And if you're vegan and you're worried about my AI use, you can send me a private message and we can talk about it. All right. I don't know what my name is. That's a funny name. Oh, hopefully you're there. Okay, cool. Oh, I guess not. All right. Your far right cousin. Hi, are you over 18?
Yeah, I'm 26.
Okay. So why aren't you vegan yet?
I just don't feel inclined to. I don't value non-human animals that much.
Okay. What's veganism?
Veganism would be placing utmost value on sentient life in general.
I do morally consider sentient life, but it's more of this ethical stance against the exploitation of others. So if someone cares about what happens to themselves and I don't need to enslave them, I avoid enslaving them. Does that ring true with your own principles?
Well, I don't. So what do you mean by enslaving? So I think putting someone in prison would be technically, so servitude, that'd be a form of enslavement.
What if they did nothing wrong? Well, I agree. I don't disagree with you there. Even if someone did something that broke our laws, I still don't think we should exploit them. And I do think that our prison system does exploit them, and I think that's wrong.
But do you think servitude is intrinsically wrong?
I don't know what that is.
Like, of its nature, it can't be permissible.
Servitude, what do you mean by that?
So, locking someone up for doing a wrong against society.
I don't think you should exploit them, though. It's fine to separate someone from a group because they're dangerous and they're causing harm to others and they won't stop. That's one thing. But to do it because you're going to benefit from using them, that's not right. That's immoral. I would call that cruel and unusual, in fact.
I'd say cordoning them off, we benefit from that.
Yeah, I'd say it's fine to protect people. Yeah, that's one thing. But to put someone in a box because you benefit from using them, that's exploitation.
Would you have an issue with, like, so for example,
It's not about what I have issues with. I'm already vegan. Why are you violating others?
I think you're kind of intuition pumping when you say others. You seem to be imparting this like idea that there's a sense of self to these non-human animals. We don't even have like empirical evidence that we have a sense of self. So you're going to have to really substantiate how.
So then why would we respect someone who's nonverbal and not as cognizant as us? No, I want to hear your answer. Why would we respect a human that is nonverbal and not as cognizant as us?
Because we have to presuppose to operate within society that we, in fact, are.
Let's say we're not in America. We're in some other country that doesn't have laws against unaliving humans that are not.
I never said anything about laws.
So in your opinion, is it
I
moral
wasn't
if I
appealing to
exploit?
legality.
Shut up for a second. Do you think it's moral to exploit a human who is nonverbal and not as cognizant as the average?
Because they're humans? No.
Okay, so it's just about DNA.
Yep.
So you test
Because we're
everyone's
of the
DNA. How do you
species
know?
that can
How do you know
rationalize.
that I'm human?
I'd say generally speaking, we can look at you and
Oh,
you're
are
able
you
to rationalize
using
your
your
thoughts.
perceptive skills? Are you watching me and my actions?
You could be AI.
Oh, so how do you know that I'm human?
I'm guessing, presupposing it.
Oh, okay. So
How do you
why
know
don't
the
you
genus
why don't
Homo
you
even
exploit
exists?
me? Why don't you exploit me since you're not sure?
I guess that'd just be a risk assessment. I wouldn't say I
Why
really
don't
have the
you? Why
ability
don't you
to
do that?
exploit
Why don't
you
you
right now.
exploit other people online that you're not sure are human? Why don't you do that?
How do you exploit someone online?
You can harass them for your benefit.
Oh, I certainly harass people that have terrible views on here. Yeah.
Yeah, but do you think that it's right to exploit others for your benefit?
Others, no. Things,
Yeah. So
yes.
what I'm saying is because you're watching my behaviors, you know that I'm sentient. That's the only way that you know. And I'm saying we've watched other animals' behaviors. We know they're sentient, which means they care about what happens to themselves. So why not extend that same respect that you have for other non-verbal, low cognizant humans? Why don't you extend that to other animals?
Because they're of the genus Homo.
So you're just speciesist.
They're of the species that is capable of rationalization.
So I don't know how you don't see this as in-group think. You're literally saying that regardless of the fact that you're sentient, regardless of the fact that you care what happens to you, because you're not in my group, I get to violate your body.
Oh, no doubt. I'm definitely speciesist. I never
No,
claimed
you
I
didn't
wasn't.
answer what I just said. Do you think that that's
it's certainly
okay
an
to
in-group
use
preference,
arbitrary?
yeah.
So
I
what's
just
wrong
said
with
I'm speciesist.
racism? What's wrong with racism?
Well, do you think all in-group preference is immoral?
I do think if you're going to use it as an excuse to violate somebody else, yeah, it's wrong.
Well, you're intuition pumping when you say somebody else. You're going to have to substantiate that there is a sense of self
pumping? Please
in
describe what that
non-human
means.
animals.
What does that mean?
So you're using a word that is meant to intuitively pump in information to someone's mind and convey a message that you haven't substantiated.
You're upset with an animal being called a someone. Are they a table?
No.
Oh, okay. So they're not a something. What are they?
No, they're definitely a thing. They don't have a sense of self.
Are they closer to humans?
They can't rationalize.
How do you know that? How do you know that they don't have a sense of self? How do you know that?
Because they can't rationalize.
How do you know that?
How do they have different
Because only humans are the
if they can't
beings
rationalize?
No, at first I want to know how
capable of rationalization.
he says that he can't tell that even humans are sentient. So how does he even know what an animal is thinking?
Sentience is different than rationalization.
I just don't think.
Would you
How do
agree?
you know how an animal rationalizes?
Just really quick, like, is it okay to like kick puppies for fun?
No, because that imparts damage on the person who's doing it.
Okay, so if
And
there was
perhaps
no
the owner.
if there was no imparted damage on the person doing it, it would be fine.
No, there is.
Okay, but
Committing violence in an effort
just to be clear,
of
no,
bloodlust
I'm trying
is wrong.
to insinuate
You pay people to do that 8 hours a day. Just FYI.
Yeah, like that's a good point. Like if I could pay someone else to do it for me, right? So the harm won't elicit onto me personally. Like I won't really know this is happening, but I've paid the money for it to happen, and it's just going to happen behind closed doors. I won't really be aware of it happening at all. I'll just know that it's taking place.
Yeah, the person
and
you
I
paid.
paid money. I paid money for it to happen. Is that okay?
The person you paid, it's imparting damage on them.
Okay, so wait, so again, like if we had the person who's not cognizant doing this, so there's no damage like really happening to them mentally, is it now okay?
The person who rigged the person who wasn't incognizant, it'd be imparting damage on them.
Okay, so we're not concerned about
What the fuck do you think a slaughterhouse is? Who do you think works there?
For real?
Who works there? Is it humans cutting the throats of the animals you use? Yeah, so you're demanding that humans hurt themselves for yourself? Get the fuck out of here,
what?
asshole. Exactly. Yep. Good God. That guy was so disingenuous, I could not handle it. Sitting there saying that kicking a dog is bad for you because you're experiencing the violence. Like, Dude, you're literally defending people doing this 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. Just like, go look at a slaughterhouse. Some of these workers stand in what's called the Hall of Blood, where birds are hung upside down and there's blades spinning, and the birds literally get their heads popped right off and the blood sprays everywhere. You're worried about the mental health of humans, and you're using animals as a defense. Like, oh, I need to eat animals, but kicking animals causes me harm. Dude, what is wrong with you? I'm sorry. That just really frustrated me.
Yeah, I mean, even like, okay, it's like, because even if you like run this, right? Yeah, like, yeah, to that point, right? Like some of the highest rates of like PTSD, depression, anxiety is those working in slaughterhouses. So like, congrats, you played your own game on that at that point. Second, I mean, let's just like say that like he takes it that like the act of, unaliving an animal doesn't cause this quote unquote damage to the human, just unaliving an animal. So now is it therefore justified to unalive an animal for hearing pleasure, for smell pleasure, for touch pleasure, for sight pleasure? Is it just taste pleasure that's justified? If so, he needs to justify the morally relevant difference between those other 4 pleasures. And he's not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
At least not with any consistency.
Yeah. It just seemed like he wanted to be contrarian. It didn't sound like he was actually being consistent. That's why I was confused. I'm like, wait, so have you actually thought about this? Because somebody has to take the life.
I mean, it's going to be fairly evident because of his name.
Yeah, that's true. The far right. Yeah, exactly. Far right off the cliff. All right. Well,
this is why I appreciate Landon having the background sometimes of like, are you a leftist? Why aren't you vegan?
Yes. Landon's background is perfect. Yeah. Because those that are on the right, clearly, they all often don't care about others. They're just focused on their own benefits. And it's okay if it results in groups of people that are not their group being harmed. Whereas like usually people that are leftists think outside of themselves a little bit, but they, for some reason, are still set on this human supremacy perspective.
Yeah.
Like, we only care about human rights.
It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't...
Yeah.
I think there is still people like within the relative right that seem to like be drawing these like concerns about these things happening. But then it's like, wait, if you're concerned about that, then like, how are you also not then like leftist? Like, because like the whole point would be to like fight for equality, fight for like fair
your
justice
own rights
to others. Like, I don't know. It's very confusing.
It's hella confusing. Yeah, that's why I'm honestly confused by both of them. Because like you say, like, I don't understand how you could be on the right and be like, yeah, no, it's okay that we, are profiling people based off of arbitrary traits. And I don't understand, like I said, the leftists that are like, we should care about people regardless of where they come from and their backgrounds and what they look like, except for their species. That arbitrary trait is okay to still use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No matter how we approach it, one seems to be hypocritical of the other.
Yeah. Well, I still have 5 minutes. Are you guys okay if I bring up another guest?
Yeah.
Let's do one more.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Amber. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. You can't be up here. You got to be over 18. Big Bud.
Yo.
Hey, are you over 18?
Yeah, I would say 27, I think, is more than 18.
That is. Why aren't you vegan yet?
Because I don't like global warming.
Oh, well, if you found out that you could fight climate change and not demand animal exploitation, would you find it to be a moral obligation to live vegan?
But what about plant exploitation?
What about it?
You realize vegans contribute to plant exploitation around the world?
Yeah, I use plants for my benefit.
Yeah, you realize that contributes to global warming? Plants do what?
What do the animals
Plants
you
do
use
what?
eat? What? Okay, if
Do
we
you
care,
not know what
let's
plants
steel
do?
man you. Let's steel man you. Let's say that I'm causing plant harm. What about the animals that you use? Don't they eat plants?
Yeah, so I'm helping the earth by eating them.
But you
because
have
they
to feed
produce
them.
CO2. They produce CO2.
Okay, I know you think
And
you're
methane.
smart. Okay, shut up. I
No,
know
I'm
you think you. No, you're not. You're not.
why I'm
You're
not.
just making a fallacy. So, there's something called the trophic pyramid, and if you just shut up for a second, you'll learn. I'll just keep muting you if you keep going. The trophic pyramid shows us the transfer of energy in a system, and we learned that when we use other animals, you'll always have to put in more energy into them than what you get out of them. So a cow, for example, that eats the grass, right? When we eat them, we lose 90% of the energy that went into them because
Can I
they're
respond?
alive, they're moving, they're burning energy.
Can I
So
respond?
it will always take
Do
more
you know why that is?
plants. It'll always take
Hello?
more plants.
Hello?
Oh my God.
Can I
If you
respond?
can't, no.
Yeah, I was just like, I'd like to get his empirics as to where he believes like this sentiment is coming from, because every large international commission, whether it's like the IPCC or like large scale studies like reducing food's environmental impact through producers and consumers, every last one of them point in the direction that consuming a plant forward diet is the best thing to reduce your climate impact, both for greenhouse gas emissions, environmental land change, and everything else. Like
Yes.
I like, those people are just like the easiest fucking people in the world to debunk. It's like, okay, so you have this premise. Where's this premise built from? Oh, some guy on Facebook told me eating meat would be good for the environment. It's like, great.
That's true.
The guy
Maybe
on
we should have
Facebook
gotten
doesn't
his
know jack
information
shit.
on that. I am curious too, but he wasn't listening, which made me feel like he wasn't going to hear out evidence. He just wanted to keep putting his point that crop farming is bad for the planet. I'm like, yeah, it is. If we stop enslaving other animals, we won't grow as many crops. It's that easy.
Yeah, and just a reminder that you're not helping by eating the animals that are eating the plants. The reason the animals are here is because we're breeding them into existence.
I was trying to say
the
that.
Solution,
He was like being an 8-year-old.
I know. Well, like you said, he wasn't here to have a conversation. He was here to just talk.
Yeah.
But like that's why, like, that's the only reason they're here. So it's better to not have them here at all.
He's like ignoring supply and demand completely. Like
Exactly.
When you buy a product, they're going to replace it. They're going to send the next animal into that system because of your demand directly. Yeah. Well, since that guy was a flop, I'm going to do one more. Come on up, hot dog.
Yo.
Hey, are you over 18?
Yeah.
Okay. Why aren't you vegan yet?
Dude, so like I crave meat.
You can eat plant-based meats though.
But dude, that's not real meat.
What does that matter?
Plants.
Who cares?
It matters. It doesn't taste like it.
It does.
Dude, vegan food is so nasty.
Vegan food doesn't demand someone be enslaved for you.
Well, it's not someone.
It is a someone.
No.
Yeah. Are they
Do
are
cows
they a
have
subject?
morals?
So an individual
be a
is
subject.
only a someone if they have morals. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, so
But I'm
then what
saying,
makes
can
a
cows
someone?
have morals? Cows
Yes,
don't
they have
morals.
morals, but it doesn't matter. Do they care about what happens to themselves?
Do they, I
Yes,
mean, I don't know if they
do.
have the ability to care.
They do.
How?
They're
How would you
sentient.
prove that?
There's the Cambridge Declaration of Consciousness and the New York Declaration of Consciousness. Every animal welfare legislation in any country recognizes that other animals are sentient and care about what happens to themselves. So knowing that that's the case,
And that's just
what
selfish.
justifies violating them? Yeah, you are
It sounds like-
selfish. You are
yeah.
selfish. Yes.
And them and the cows.
You are
They only care
selfish
about
for
themselves.
breeding someone into existence to be your
I'm not doing
slave.
that.
Yes, you are. You're breeding someone in to be your slave so you can put your tongue inside their body without their consent.
What?
Yeah, you're using young bodies for your sensory
Dude.
pleasures. Yep.
It's
without
not even
consent.
Oh, I guess it kind of is.
It's totally
without
the same.
consent.
Without consent.
Dude. How do I get a cow's consent?
You can't, so you don't use them. It's that simple.
Don't they have like a parent or something, like a guardian?
What?
Can I get their consent?
No.
Like, you know, how does that
Can
work?
I eat you? Can I get your parents' permission to eat you?
Dude, I'm above 18.
Get the fuck out of here. Shut up. Get the shut out of here. That's actually a better response. Get the shut out of here. I think I'm going to call it there.
Dang.
I'm just so frustrated with these idiots. I cannot stand how they're
He
just
wasn't
like,
here to have a serious conversation.
none of them are.
No, he wasn't.
The last few
That
have
drives me
all been
crazy.
jokes.
Dude, bruh, dude,
Yeah.
dude. It drives me nuts. I'm sorry.
I agree. It just
I wasn't expecting much out of someone named fucking Hot Dog.
Yeah, I wasn't either. There's just no. I now have like 3 other requests, but I'm just gonna call it there. It's too many.
Yeah.
And somebody cried. I made them. I was a bully.
Hey, parking lot.
I'm restricted for 10 minutes. Your live is not eligible. Whatever. I don't care. I'm going to end it there, though. Thank you all for being here. Please go follow all the vegans on my
Yeah,
panel.
thank you for having me.
Hell yeah. Thank you for coming up here. I really appreciate y'all. Please
You
go
gonna be at
follow
Friday, or
Stasia.
you gonna do something else? You be at Friday?
So Friday, I will be live on YouTube. We'll see how I feel. I do
okay.
want to try to be on live or be live on TikTok more often. I might be live on someone else's TikTok on Thursday. We're talking about it in my group. So just keep a
cool.
lookout on my profile this week.
Okay,
And like I
definitely.
said, Friday I'll be live on Vegan Stoner Lady on YouTube. And oh, actually, let me pull up my little thing. Thank you for reminding me. So bloop bloop. I'll be live on Friday, and Anti-Animal Use will be live on Saturday on YouTube. So please come check us out. We want to be supported, and you can hang out in the chat. We try to talk to you, so even non-vegans, come on in, talk to us. Yes, thank you so much for everyone being here. And please, like I said, go follow all the vegans. Keith, Two Spirit Veg, Stasia, please go follow them. Great activists. Tons.
Yeah, I have new content starting today. So
Yay!
later,
Yay!
after work, I'm posted some videos finally.
Yay! Go follow Stasia. Go look at them. Yes, awesome. Appreciate it. And then also thank you to all my vegans in the chats. I really appreciate y'all because you're answering questions. You're being supportive. It's huge. And this, honestly, being an activist is hard. But what was that? Hold on.
Oh, sorry. I'm talking to the
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking to us. I was like, I'm holding.
I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for having
for
me.
being up here. Awesome.
Bye.
Bye. All right, and I'll end it there. Also, thank you, Keith, for being up here. All right, so I'll see.
Everyone.
Yeah, and I don't know if Universe is going to be live or anybody, but go follow another vegan. Go see who's live right now. I'm sure, especially you, Big Bud, you can go find someone to go talk to. I'm sure that Universe will be live soon, and he can answer your questions. Landon Plants, I see you. Thank you. You're the goat. You're the goat. I appreciate your comments. Thank you. Yeah, dubs in the chat for veganism. Vegans are good, are probably the best. I keep getting these warnings. Yes, I bullied people who bully animals. It's okay. All right, you guys, have a great day. If you're not vegan, be vegan and enjoy the rest of your vegan day. I'll see y'all later. All right, YouTube. I appreciate y'all. You guys really do. You're my backbone, honestly. I feel like, oh, that's not the one I want to show you. That one's delayed. It's the YouTube. This is me. It's just backwards. Boop. There we go. There's me. Hi. Here you can see. You can still see the train. Yes, the abolitionist approach. Yes, exactly. I do feel like we got stuck on some tangents today. I really wanted to bring it back to the animals. There were just a few moments that it seemed like it was too easy for the non-vegans to distract with like environment and health. And oh, you can't even see me still. It's a little bit off. But it's still, I think we had some good conversations. And like I said, I really appreciate y'all being here. You guys make a huge difference for me. And thank you also, Sabby. Thank you again for the 20 euros. That was huge. And Pandoria, oh wow. It doesn't show me for some reason when you're sending the floating hearts. Thank you so much. The 10 jewels, thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm sure y'all know that you don't have to send me things. And if you do, I do appreciate it. And it's going to be used for vegan things. So thank you so much for your support. All right, y'all, go find another vegan to go watch and have a great vegan day. I'll catch you on either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And if not, I'll see you Monday. I'll see y'all.
Catch you on the flippity flip.